Chapter 302. In these 3 months, Zhou Donghuang and Lu Pingxing did not talk about anything else other than Lu Pingxing's understanding of the divine Dharma technique. However, after these 3 months, the two of them still felt like old friends. In these 3 months, Zhou Donghuang was able to draw inferences based on what Lu Pingxing had done in the past, causing Lu Pingxing to be amazed. He even felt that if he had met Zhou Donghuang in the past, he might have been able to refine his Dharma power to the point of mastering the divine Dharma power. Lu Pingxing's departure was silent, and besides Zhou Donghuang, no one knew about it. It was not until a month later that the Autumn Valley head, He Jin, came looking for Lu Pingxing. He had some questions regarding his training and wanted to ask Lu Pingxing for advice. Only then did he find out that Lu Pingxing had already left the Autumn Valley and the Lightning Sword sect a month ago. Donghuang, why didn't you tell me? He Jin smiled bitterly. Lu Pingxing's departure was not a small matter to him or the Lightning Sword sect. Valley head, what problems have you encountered in your training? Zhou Donghuang could not help but laugh when he found out that He Jin had come to ask Lu Pingxing for advice on his training. Wasn't this asking for advice from someone far away? In front of him, there was a mighty martial artist who had once been an ultimate celestial adept. It's a problem of breaking through. I feel like I'm about to break through to the divine transformation stage, but I feel like I'm missing something. He Jin smiled bitterly. However, since Senior Lu has already left, I can look for the sect leader and senior granduncle. Although the two divine transformation adepts of the Lightning Sword sect were not as good as Senior Lu, who had already left, they could still give him some pointers. After all, they had experience breaking through to the divine transformation stage. Valley head, after you switched to the Thousand-Star Sword technique, breaking through to the divine transformation stage is only a matter of time. Normally, there shouldn't be too many bottlenecks. Zhou Donghuang said. He Jin had already switched to the Thousand-Star Sword technique that he had taught him. Zhou Donghuang had thought that he had already broken through, but he did not expect that he still had not broken through. Normally, Valley head, he should have broken through long ago. Zhou Donghuang continued. When He Jin heard this, he felt a little awkward. Normally speaking, I should have already broken through. However, when I switched to the Thousand-Star Sword technique, I was greedy and kept some of the circulation paths that I thought were unimportant. In the end, I became the victim of my own cleverness and wasted a lot of my time. Although I corrected myself in time, I still encountered a bottleneck at the critical moment of breaking through to the divine transformation stage. Apart from feeling awkward, He Jin also felt somewhat helpless. Keep the circulation route of the cultivation technique that I've cultivated in the past? Zhou Donghuang was a little speechless. Although doing so would allow him to master the new technique faster, it was not worth it. This was because the circulation routes of the techniques were one, and if he hastily kept the old technique, it would definitely affect the new technique. What's the situation now? Zhou Donghuang asked. He Jin shook his head. Actually, I'm not too sure either. I just feel that after I corrected the circulation route of the technique, when spirit and inner yuan pass through that part of the circulation route, a small portion of the circulation route will automatically circulate according to the original circulation route. I tried to correct it. 1 day, 10 days, 1 month, 3 months, and the longest time, I even spent half a year, but there was still no improvement. He Jin smiled bitterly. Not even half a year? Zhou Donghuang raised an eyebrow. Valley head, during the correction period, do you sometimes let the spirit and inner yuan circulate on their own? Yes. He Jin nodded. Sometimes, I can't help but want to test the effect of the correction, but I don't try for long. After hearing He Jin's words, Zhou Donghuang shook his head and said, That's the problem. During the correction period, you can't let the spirit and inner yuan circulate on their own. Try again. Whenever you practice, the circulation route of the technique must be corrected and cannot be allowed to circulate on its own. If there are no accidents, you should be able to successfully correct it in at most a month's time. Zhou Donghuang said, "Of course, in this month's time, remember not to let the spirit and inner yuan circulate on their own, because before the correction is successful, letting the spirit and inner yuan circulate on their own will be a waste of effort. Only by persisting for a month and not letting the spirit and inner yuan circulate on their own will you be able to destroy the original inertia and correct it successfully." The problem that He Jin had encountered was only a small problem, and to Zhou Donghuang, it was not difficult at all to solve. He Jin was not stupid, and after hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, he naturally realized the feasibility of this method. After bidding Zhou Donghuang "I'll try it," he immediately disappeared. After He Jin left, Zhou Donghuang returned to his room to continue practicing. "I didn't expect, after Dharma power control, there's still divine Dharma power." Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Zhou Donghuang's body flashed with a thought. It was the silhouettes of the 4 divine beasts, and they surrounded Zhou Donghuang, opening their mouths to absorb the spirit in the air. The spirit absorbed by the energy-gathering formation was already very dense, and Zhou Donghuang's usual practice could not keep up. But now, the speed at which the energy-gathering formation absorbed spirit was far slower than the speed at which the 4 divine beasts absorbed spirit. And this was the technique of divine Dharma power. Long before Lu Pingxing had left, Zhou Donghuang had already mastered the technique of divine Dharma power, but he had not revealed it to Lu Pingxing. He was not willing to stand out like this. If Lu Pingxing knew about this, it would be fine if he did not have any ill intentions towards him. If he did, it would not be a good thing for him. I really didn't expect that by using the Lord of the 4 Supremes and Lu Pingxing's hundreds of years of research, I could actually master the technique of divine Dharma power in just 3 short months. Even now, Zhou Donghuang could not help but sigh. It looks like the Lord of the 4 Supremes, an ancient primordial soul technique, is very helpful in mastering the technique of divine Dharma power. The divine Dharma power was to gather the silhouettes of Dharma power around one's body, allowing the silhouettes to absorb spirit to aid in their practice. Generally speaking, the speed at which one Dharma power could absorb spirit was already considered very fast, but Zhou Donghuang now had 4 Dharma powers to help him absorb spirit to train, so the speed was even faster. Now, around Zhou Donghuang's residence, there was a visible ripple of spirit. Of course, he could only discover it when he got close. Previously, when Lu Pingxing was around, he did not dare to use the divine Dharma power to absorb spirit to train, but now that Lu Pingxing had left for a period of time, he was completely relieved. I feel like, at this speed, it won't be long before my 4 ultimate Dharma powers can all enter the primordial soul stage and form the primordial soul of the 4 divine beasts. Zhou Donghuang's originally tightly shut eyes suddenly opened, and a bright light twinkled and twinkled in his eyes. Previously, with the help of the 4 sky sun elixirs, the 4 divine beasts in Zhou Donghuang's body had all entered the ultimate Dharma stage. Now that he had mastered the divine Dharma power, the speed of his training was even faster, and he felt that it wouldn't be long before he could successfully enter the primordial soul stage and become a primordial soul adept. Furthermore, the current him no longer needed to worry about the problem of training the Lord of the 4 Supremes would face after entering the primordial soul stage. With the divine Dharma power technique, he would be able to walk the path of training of the ancient humans. The technique cultivated the primordial soul, and the divine Dharma power was the divine tribulation. He no longer needed to create a follow-up technique based on the Lord of the 4 Supremes, and even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to. There were countless geniuses in the ancient times, but no one had ever created a technique for the divine transformation stage. Of course, there was no need to. The divine Dharma power technique was enough for them to successfully train all the way to the deity's tribulation stage. Originally, I planned to go to the Guiyao planet to investigate the birthplace of the mysterious demon after I broke through to the ultimate Dharma stage. Now I should wait until I enter the primordial soul stage before going there to investigate. Zhou Donghuang could not forget about the mysterious demon on the Guiyao planet. That Zhou Donghuang is still holed up in the Autumn Valley? While Zhou Donghuang was training to break through to the primordial soul stage, on the Tailao planet, near the galaxy teleporter near the base of the Lightning Sword sect, a figure stood there and asked impatiently. This was a middle-aged man, and beside him were an old man and a middle-aged man. If Zhou Donghuang was here, he would definitely be able to recognize the person who had spoken. This was the man who had appeared with the 14th prince of the Qi dynasty, Qi Rui, at the Lightning Sword sect, with the intention of recruiting him, Chu Wei. Yes. The person who had come to report was a young man who was a disciple of the Autumn Valley of the Lightning Sword sect. His true identity was a spy of the Qi dynasty in the Lightning Sword sect. Continue to monitor him. If there's any sign of movement, inform and contact me at the first moment, Chu Wei said in a low voice. Yes, Sir Chu. The man replied respectfully before turning to leave. Chu Wei. At this time, the middle-aged man beside Chu Wei frowned and said, This time, isn't it just to kill a Dharma adept? You alone would have been enough, but the 7th prince actually asked us to come with you. 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts trying to kill a Dharma adept. If news of this were to spread, where would we hide our faces? As the middle-aged man spoke, he was obviously displeased. This is not something I can decide. If you want to ask, you can go back and question the 7th prince now. Chu Wei shook his head. He did not understand this matter either. The middle-aged man, upon hearing Chu Wei's words, immediately shut his mouth and did not continue on this topic. It was obvious that he did not have the guts to question the 7th prince of the Qi dynasty. The 7th prince said that this matter was personally ordered by His Majesty, King Qi, so even if the 3 of us are here, we have to do it beautifully. The other person beside Chu Wei, the old man who had not spoken all this while, finally spoke. Chapter 303. Training Knew No Time. In September 1234 of the Xian era, Zhou Donghuang left the Xian planet and arrived at the Hongliu galaxy, where he entered the Autumn Valley of the Lightning Sword sect. In September 1237 of the Xian era, Zhou Donghuang participated in the alliance hunt of the Hongliu galaxy. 3 months later, in December 1237 of the Xian era, he won first place in the alliance hunt. In the blink of an eye, it was already the end of the year 1238 of the Xian era. At this time, half a year had passed since Lu Pingxing had left, and Zhou Donghuang had been training in seclusion for a whole half a year. In this half a year, with the spirit stones he had set up the energy-gathering formation and the divine Dharma technique, Zhou Donghuang had finally entered the primordial soul stage. Of course, it was not the primordial soul stage recognized by the Lord of the Four Supremes. The Lord of the Four Supremes recognized the primordial soul stage as the transformation of all 4 dharmas into the primordial soul stage, not just 1 or 2 or 3 dharma powers. In the blink of an eye, it's been more than 3 years since I left the Xian planet. When I return from the Guiyao planet, I'll go to a few places to collect some things before returning to the Xian planet to bring some spirit stones and elixirs back for them. 3 years ago, when Zhou Donghuang had left the Xian planet, he had thought that when he had enough training resources, he would go back and use them on his family and the people of the Donghuang sect. Now it was about time. Of course, after more than 3 years, Zhou Donghuang's appearance had not changed much. He was as young and handsome as before, but his eyes seemed to have been through a lot and did not look like the eyes of a young man. Little brother, you've come out of seclusion? Just as Zhou Donghuang walked out of the courtyard, De Zhuang's voice came from outside. De Zhuang had heard the creak of Zhou Donghuang's door opening and had come over. De Zhuang, have you entered the ultimate Dharma stage? Zhou Donghuang asked with a smile. Not yet. De Zhuang scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. I'm a little stupid. Senior sister has already entered the ultimate Dharma stage 2 months ago, but I haven't broken through yet. The Valley Master said that it's useless for me to cultivate in seclusion, and it might even have the opposite effect. So, I've been practicing some of the moves in the Fiery Thunder training regimen in the courtyard. As he spoke, De Zhuang looked at Zhou Donghuang weakly, as if afraid that Zhou Donghuang would think that he was useless. Not bad. Zhou Donghuang smiled. Third senior sister's level of practice is higher than yours, so it's normal that she broke through before you. Continue practicing your moves. I have something to discuss with the Valley Master. After saying this, Zhou Donghuang left to see He Jin of the Autumn Valley. After seeing He Jin, he did not return to his own residence but left the Lightning Sword sect directly for the Guiyao planet. He had waited a long time for this day. The big demon on the Guiyao planet should still be there. After all, a year ago there were no signs of the breeding of the big demon on the Guiyao planet. As he thought of this, Zhou Donghuang's eyes lit up as he left the Lightning Sword sect. He did not head to the Galaxy Teleporter near the Lightning Sword sect. Instead, he used his physical body to cross the galaxy and head to the Guiyao planet. This was because there were no galaxy teleporters between the Tailao planet and the Guiyao planet. If he wanted to use another galaxy teleporter, he would have to take a detour. Using his physical body to cross the galaxy was much more efficient. Not long after Zhou Donghuang left the Lightning Sword sect, a figure sneaked out of the Lightning Sword sect and headed towards the galaxy teleporter outside the Lightning Sword sect. Official Chu, Zhou Donghuang has left the Lightning Sword sect. This person was one of the spies that the Qi dynasty had planted in the Lightning Sword sect. He was an Autumn Valley disciple. He left the Lightning Sword sect? The eyes of the Qi dynasty's official, Chu Wei, lit up. Where did he go? He took to the skies and headed towards the galaxy. From the looks of it, he did not intend to use the galaxy teleporter. The Qi dynasty's spy, an Autumn Valley disciple of the Lightning Sword sect, spoke up. He did not intend to use the galaxy teleporter and cross the galaxy with his physical body? Which direction did he go? Chu Wei asked with a slight frown. That way. With the Qi dynasty's spy's hint, Chu Wei looked up into the sky and finally locked his gaze in one direction. That direction, isn't that the direction to the Guiyao planet? Could it be that Zhou Donghuang is planning to go to the Guiyao planet? In the past, when the various sects of the Alliance had held the Alliance hunt on the Guiyao planet, he and the Qi dynasty's 14th prince had been nearby. Later on, they had crossed the galaxy using their physical body and landed on the Tailao planet, where they had gone to the Lightning Sword sect. Because of this, he had a clear understanding of the route to the Guiyao planet. The spy pointed and immediately recognized the direction that Zhou Donghuang had gone in. It was the direction to the Guiyao planet. All right, you can go now. After Chu Wei left the spy, he said to the two people beside him, Gentlemen, it's time to act. I know that the two of you feel that the other party is a Dharma adept and will not make a move. However, this matter was personally ordered by His Majesty, King Qi, so I hope that you will not be careless. If anything goes wrong, not only will it be difficult to explain to His Majesty, but it will also be difficult to explain to the 7th Prince. Hearing Chu Wei's reminder, the other middle-aged man, who had a look of disdain on his face, turned serious as well. As for the last old man, his expression was calm from the start, and it was hard to tell whether he was happy or angry. Let's go. The 3 Qi dynasty worshippers, who were 3 ultimate adepts, instantly transformed into 3 streaks of light and shot out from the galaxy teleporter. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the clouds, as if they had never been there in the first place. Let's split up. If we find any traces of Zhou Donghuang, we will gather together and kill him. The 7th Prince has said that we will not leave him alive. Such a talented person, if we give him a chance and he manages to escape successfully, it will not be a good thing for the Qi dynasty if he decides to seek revenge on us in the future. Therefore, we have to kill him completely. It would be best if we can destroy his corpse and not leave a single trace. Chu Wei and the other two ultimate primordial soul worshippers of the Chu dynasty passed through the clouds above the Tailao planet and appeared in the boundless starry sky. Chu Wei spoke in a low voice to the other two beside him. In the next moment, the other two flew away from him, maintaining a certain distance from each other. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The three of them formed the three corners of a triangle, and with Chu Wei leading the way, they headed in the direction of the Guiyao planet. At this moment, Zhou Donghuang was also traversing the starry sky in front of Chu Wei and the other two towards the Guiyao planet. Furthermore, his speed was so fast that it exceeded the expectations of Chu Wei and the other two. After some time, the three of them finally saw Zhou Donghuang's figure in the distance. At the same time, they also saw Zhou Donghuang's speed. This is a Dharma adept? The two people beside Chu Wei simultaneously looked at Chu Wei. Did we follow the wrong person? The figure in front of them was so fast that it was not something that a Dharma adept could achieve. He was at least an early primordial soul adept. Although they were quite a distance apart, with Chu Wei's eyesight, he could still recognize Zhou Donghuang's figure. That's right. It's him. This unappreciative kid, I'll remember his back even if he's turned to ash. As Chu Wei spoke, his tone became serious and he gritted his teeth. Back then, if the Lightning Sword sect leader, Yu Yuqing, had not been by his side, he would have taught this kid a lesson long ago. How dare he be so unappreciative? It looks like he was about to break through to the ultimate Dharma stage. Then, he consumed the Sky Sun fruit and successfully broke through to the primordial soul stage within a short year. Chu Wei guessed. Sky Sun fruit? Hearing Chu Wei's words, the other two's eyes flashed with regret. It's a pity that such a good spirit fruit was eaten by someone who is about to die. This Zhou Donghuang, so what if he consumed the Sky Sun fruit? In the end, he won't live for more than a few days. What a waste, it would have been better for my grandson to consume it. Between their words, there was a deep sense of regret. The Sky Sun fruit was such a rare spirit fruit. Now, it had been consumed by someone who was about to die. Not to mention them, even King Qi of the Qi Manor would feel regretful about this. A 27-year-old primordial soul adept. Even in the history of the Qi dynasty, there has never been such a person, right? The middle-aged man's eyes flashed as he suddenly asked. No. The other old man shook his head. In the history of the Qi dynasty, the fastest person to reach the primordial soul stage was at the age of 29. That person had already reached the late divine transformation stage before he left the Hungliu galaxy. Haha, hearing this, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up. To be able to kill such a talent with my own hands is enough for me, Chai Meng, to brag for the rest of my life. Let's go. As Chu Wei spoke, his figure flickered, and it was as if he had transformed into a shooting star. In the blink of an eye, he was getting closer and closer to the figure in front of him. The other two also followed Chu Wei at the same time. The speed of the three ultimate primordial soul adepts was ridiculously fast, and they quickly caught up with the figure in front of them. Not only did they block his way, but they also surrounded him like an impenetrable wall. Zhou Donghuang. Chu Wei blocked his way, glaring at him. I bet you never dreamed that we would meet again so soon. As he spoke, the corners of Chu Wei's mouth curled into a mocking smile. Why? However, Zhou Donghuang did not seem surprised at the appearance of Chu Wei and the other two. Could it be that the people of the Chu dynasty are planning to kidnap me and bring me back to the Qi dynasty? Kidnap me back to the Qi dynasty? Chu Wei laughed coldly. Zhou Donghuang, you think too highly of yourself. Do you think the Qi dynasty would dare to use someone we have kidnapped? Chu Wei looked at Zhou Donghuang again, as if he was looking at an idiot. Eastern Royal Emperor. Chapter 304. Then why are you here? Zhou Donghuang asked calmly, as if he really did not know the purpose of their visit. It was to the extent that his expression didn't reveal anything unusual from the beginning until the end. To kill you, Chu Wei said coldly. A potential threat like you cannot be used by the Qi dynasty, so your only fate is death. From the moment you rejected the 14th prince and the 7th prince, your fate was sealed. It seems like the Qi dynasty is afraid of me. Zhou Donghuang laughed calmly, not at all like someone who was in a life-or-death situation. Even Chai Meng, who was standing beside Chu Wei, could not stand Zhou Donghuang's laughter. Rascal, you are about to die and you can still laugh? Only the old man among the three looked at Zhou Donghuang with a slight frown. At the same time, a wary expression appeared on his face. Whoosh! Just as the old man was on high alert, and Chu Wei and Chai Meng were glaring at Zhou Donghuang, ready to strike at any moment, a swift sound pierced through the air. In an instant, under the watchful eyes of the three, a figure appeared beside Zhou Donghuang in the blink of an eye. He Jin? Seeing who it was, Chu Wei frowned slightly and looked behind him cautiously. After confirming that no one else had arrived, his frown relaxed slightly. If it was just He Jin alone, he would not have been afraid. After all, He Jin was an ultimate primordial soul adept just like him. Perhaps, if it was a one-on-one fight, he might not be a match for He Jin. But now they had three ultimate primordial soul adepts. Even the strongest ultimate primordial soul adept in the Lightning Sword sect would be killed by the three of them, let alone the Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect. The Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect? Just as Chu Wei recognized He Jin, the old man beside him also recognized him. The three of you from the Qi dynasty, what are you trying to do? He Jin had only met one of the three before him, and that was Chu Wei. When he had first arrived at the Lightning Sword sect with the 14th prince of the Qi dynasty, he had met Chu Wei once and knew that he was an ultimate primordial soul adept. The Qi dynasty? However, after hearing He Jin's words, Chu Wei calmly said, "We are not from the Qi dynasty. You have the wrong person." Obviously, Chu Wei did not intend to admit his identity. No matter what the three of them did this time was something that couldn't be seen in the light. Kill them all. Chu Wei's next words were resolute and decisive, very straightforward. Almost as soon as Chu Wei finished speaking, he was not the only one. The two people next to him also made their moves. Their powerful nascent souls appeared like three towering mountains. They were like peerless gods of war in the starry sky, their bodies shining with brilliant light. The primordial spirits of Chu Wei and the others were three humanoid primordial spirits. Their shapes were exactly the same as the three of them. Boom! Chu Wei's primordial soul power struck out with a palm, enveloping the area. It was like a huge mountain falling from the sky, crashing towards Zhou Donghuang and He Jin's heads. Buzz! 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 Chai Meng's primordial soul formed a knife in his hand, and he did not seem to move at all. Rays of dazzling knife light shot towards Zhou Donghuang and He Jin like a rain of knives. Bang! The remaining old man's primordial soul power, which was originally thin and frail, suddenly swelled up, and with a punch it was earth-shattering, as if it could punch a hole in the starry sky. A huge shadow of a fist, like a meteorite breaking through the sky, smashed towards Zhou Donghuang and He Jin at an absurd speed. The three of them attacked at the same time, and the range of their attacks completely covered Zhou Donghuang and He Jin. It was obvious that they wanted to kill both of them at the same time. Facing the murderous attacks of the three, Zhou Donghuang still stood there with a calm expression, as if nothing had happened. He Jin, who was beside him, also watched the merciless attacks of the three with a calm expression. As the three people's attacks got closer and closer, He Jin opened his mouth. His tone was incomparably indifferent. If it was the me from 3 months ago, I would definitely die facing the three of you today. Unfortunately, the current me is no longer the me from 3 months ago. Almost at the same time that He Jin spoke, his body suddenly became illusory, and a primordial soul power that was as huge as a mountain appeared in the boundless starry sky. It was as if it could pluck the stars with its bare hands and shatter the galaxy with its fist. Waves of terrifying, sharp aura shot out from this primordial soul power, and rays of sword light could be seen circling around the primordial soul power, making it look like an unparalleled god of swords, majestic and awe-inspiring. In front of this primordial soul power, the other three primordial soul power, which had looked rather impressive earlier, seemed to pale in comparison. It was as if the light of a grain of rice could not compete with the brilliance of the moon. As for the three Qi dynasty warriors who had been attacking aggressively with all their might, the three ultimate primordial soul adepts, when they saw the primordial soul power that had appeared from He Jin's primordial soul power, their eyes narrowed, and their expressions changed. Divine transformation adept? The three of them cried out at the same time, their voices filled with shock and disbelief. It was obvious that they had never imagined that He Jin, the Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, would be a divine transformation adept. In the Lightning Sword sect, even if another divine transformation adept were to be born, surely it would not be He Jin's turn, right? What did He Jin do to deserve this? This is the first time that I, He Jin, have made a move since I entered the divine transformation stage. He Jin's voice rang out, shaking the starry sky. Since the three of you are here, why don't you stay here? He Jin's primordial soul power, which was as huge as a mountain, opened its mouth and spat out. Instantly, countless rays of sword light shot out, and in the blink of an eye, it shattered the attacks of the three people. It was as if it was crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Not good. He is not an ordinary divine transformation adept. My God! Even an ordinary mid-divine transformation adept would not be able to execute such a powerful attack, right? This He Jin has hidden his strength so well. The expressions of Chu Wei and the other two changed again and again. Very quickly, they exchanged glances, their eyes filled with determination. Then, the three of them split into three different directions and flew off into the distance. He Jin's power was far beyond their imagination. The three of them had attacked with all their might, and the three waves of attacks were extremely powerful. However, in the face of the countless rays of sword light that He Jin's primordial soul power had spat out, they could not even withstand a single blow. The current He Jin, in their eyes, was even more powerful than an ordinary mid-divine transformation adept. However, they could also confirm that He Jin's inner yuan was only that of an early divine transformation adept. The reason why he was able to unleash such a frightening attack was entirely because his techniques were extraordinary, or perhaps it could be said that the techniques that he trained in were extraordinary. At least one of us must survive and report back. He Jin's technique is definitely more powerful than the best techniques in the Qi dynasty. Run! When Chu Wei and the other two arrived, it was as if they had everything under control. They were majestic and arrogant. Even if He Jin appeared, they did not care. They felt that killing one Zhou Dongwang was the same as killing two He Jin. There was no difference. However, what they did not expect was that He Jin was not only a divine transformation adept, but he was also a divine transformation adept who was even more powerful than an ordinary mid-divine transformation adept. Run? He Jin laughed condescendingly. Then, his primordial soul power waved its right hand, and a brilliant ray of sword light sliced through the air like a ray of starlight. Whoosh! Whoosh! Chu Wei and the old man were both killed by He Jin's sword. Their souls were destroyed, and they were dead. As they fled, they did not even have the time to show expressions of fear and despair. Whoosh! The sound of the sword whistling could be heard, and a bright trail of stars appeared in the sky. It was He Jin's primordial soul power, which was like a huge mountain. It stepped on a giant sword light and flew out, blocking the remaining middle-aged man, Chai Meng. Only after Chai Meng stopped in his tracks did he realize that his two companions were already dead. His face turned as white as a sheet. He Jin. Chai Meng looked at He Jin, his eyes flashing. He suppressed the fear in his heart and said in a low voice, "You cannot kill me. If you kill me, the Qi dynasty will not let the lightning sword sect off. The three of us are here on the orders of the seventh prince to kill Zhou Dongwang. As for the seventh prince, he received permission from the Qi dynasty to send us to kill Zhou Dongwang. If the three of us die here, the Qi dynasty will definitely investigate this matter and even take their anger out on the lightning sword sect. At that time, none of you will be able to escape." As Chai Meng spoke, he did not forget to reveal his bargaining chip. "However, if I am still alive, then things will be different. As long as I go back and say that the two of them died in an accident, the Qi dynasty will not take their anger out on the lightning sword sect, and you will not be in trouble. Although you are strong, stronger than an ordinary mid-divine transformation adept, the Qi dynasty still has a late divine transformation adept who can easily kill you and the other two divine transformation adepts of the lightning sword sect." After hearing this, Chai Meng felt that He Jin would consider his suggestion. However, what he did not expect was that He Jin would look at him and simply say, "What Qi dynasty? Are you from the Qi dynasty? Just now, your companion said that you are not from the Qi dynasty." As he spoke, a dazzling sword aura shot out from He Jin's body. In the blink of an eye, it covered the entire area. Thousands of sword auras shot towards Chai Meng. "No. We are from the Qi dynasty. Just now, Chu Wei did not want to reveal our identities. The three of us are from the Qi dynasty. You cannot kill me, you cannot." At the brink of death, Chai Meng screamed with all his might. At the same time, his hands did not stop moving as he attacked with all his might. However, in the end, he was still destroyed by the thousands of sword auras, leaving only a bloody mist in the air. He Jin's attack was too strong, and it was frightening. The sword auras were like the scythe of the Grim Reaper, and in the blink of an eye, Chai Meng's life was reaped. Chapter 305. Whoosh. After killing Chai Meng, He Jin's primordial soul was kept. At the same time, his face was filled with shock. "I've only just entered the early divine transformation stage, but I'm already so powerful. When I stabilize my training, won't I be even more powerful?" In contrast to He Jin's astonishment, Zhou Dongwang was not surprised by this. Now that he heard He Jin mumbling to himself, he smiled faintly and said, "Valley Head, don't forget that the technique you've switched to is a deity-level technique. It's the best technique in the entire universe. This kind of cultivation technique usually only exists in the great clans and supreme sects that stand at the peak of the universe. Do you think that the early divine transformation adepts of the great clans and supreme sects would not be able to fight against the mid-divine transformation adepts of the Hongliu galaxy? It's also because you only switched to the thousand-star sword technique later, or else your current power would not be limited to this." Zhou Dongwang's words enlightened He Jin. Only now did he remember that the technique he had switched to was one of the top deities' tribulation techniques in the universe. But, suddenly, Zhou Dongwang's expression became serious. "Valley Head, if you don't want to cause trouble, it's best not to reveal your full power in front of others in the short term. Just now, I'm afraid those people could see that you're only at the early soul formation stage, but you're already stronger than a mid-soul formation stage cultivator. In that situation, their first thought was that you've switched to a very advanced cultivation method." Zhou Dongwang did not say anything else, because he knew that He Jin knew what he was doing. After all, He Jin was the Autumn Valley Head of the Lightning Sword sect's inner sect. He had seen many things and was very experienced. "I was too careless this time." He Jin nodded. "But, luckily, they're all dead, so they won't spread the news. Wait for me to familiarize myself with my current power. If I attack again, I'll control myself." Now, He-Jin was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. Once the news that he had switched to a powerful technique spread, not only would the other sects of the Alliance not be able to control themselves, even the two transcendental forces of the Hunglyo galaxy would definitely attack him. This technique allowed He-Jin, who had just entered the early divine transformation stage, to have the ability to surpass an average mid-divine transformation adept. Even if he had the best cultivation techniques from the Qi dynasty and the Guangling Academy, the two transcendental forces of the Henry Star, he would not be able to achieve this. Yes. Zhou Donghuang nodded and said to He-Jin, "Valley Head, let's continue to the Guiyao planet." This time, before he left, Zhou Donghuang specially went to look for He-Jin. The main reason he was looking for He-Jin was so that he could escort him to the Guiyao planet. After all, he had previously rejected the two transcendental forces of the Hunglyo galaxy. Who knew if they would take advantage of this opportunity to harm him? Having lived for 1,000 years in his previous life, he had experienced many things and seen many things, so he did not find this strange. Therefore, although he had asked He-Jin to follow him to the Guiyao planet, he did not ask He-Jin to travel with him. Instead, he asked He-Jin to maintain a manageable distance and follow him. As it turned out, his conjecture was not baseless. The Qi dynasty had really made a move against him, and they had even sent out 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts. All right. He-Jin agreed and continued to head towards the Guiyao planet with Zhou Donghuang. This time, he did not stray too far away from Zhou Donghuang, but instead traveled alongside him. "Donghuang, the Qi dynasty really thinks highly of you. In order to kill you, they actually sent out 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts." Along the way, He-Jin looked at Zhou Donghuang and smiled bitterly. Although he could understand Zhou Donghuang's concerns and had followed him on this trip, he had subconsciously felt that even if the Qi dynasty and the Guangling Academy wanted to send people to kill Zhou Donghuang, they would only send 1 or 2 ordinary primordial soul adepts. He had not expected the Qi dynasty to send out ultimate primordial soul adepts, and 3 of them at that. Even if he had broken through to the divine transformation stage and had not switched to the 1,000-star sword technique, he would still have died if he had encountered these 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts. Not to mention Zhou Donghuang. "I didn't expect this either." Zhou Donghuang smiled faintly. He looked calm and emotionless, but as his eyes narrowed into slits deep in his heart, he had already made a mental note to remember this. This was the first time the Qi dynasty had sent someone to kill him, and their attitude was resolute. Furthermore, it was the 7th prince of the Qi dynasty who had personally given the order. Since this was the case, this debt would be placed on the head of the 7th prince. If he killed him once, he would kill another person from the Qi dynasty. This time, he would kill the 7th prince of the Qi dynasty. He-Jin did not know what Zhou Donghuang was thinking. If he knew that Zhou Donghuang was thinking of killing the 7th prince of the Qi dynasty as revenge for the Qi dynasty's ambush, he would definitely be shocked. After all, the 7th prince of the Qi dynasty was one of the most popular candidates to become the next king of the Qi dynasty. Furthermore, he was one of the most popular candidates. To the Qi dynasty, they would rather have 100 princes like the 14th prince die than have the 7th prince die. "I'm afraid this is just the beginning." He-Jin smiled bitterly as he said, "This time, the 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts sent by the Qi dynasty have all died. They will definitely not take this lying down. Even if they don't do it in the open, they will definitely use all their means in the dark. This time, it was 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts who came to kill you. Next time, it will definitely be divine transformation adept. Donghuang, why don't you go out and hide for a while?" As he spoke, He-Jin could not help but suggest this. Hide. He-Jin was confident that as long as the Qi dynasty did not send a mid-divine transformation adept or a late divine transformation adept, he would be able to ensure Zhou Donghuang's safety. However, just as Zhou Donghuang had said earlier, he could not easily reveal his true abilities. Once this was revealed, the fact that he had switched to a more powerful technique would also be revealed, and he would be in deep trouble. Furthermore, there were many divine transformation adepts in the Qi dynasty who were much more powerful than him. If these divine transformation adepts were to attack him, even the other two divine transformation adepts of the Lightning Sword sect would not be able to protect Zhou Donghuang. Because of this, he had asked Zhou Donghuang to go into hiding. "Valley Head, don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Zhou Donghuang smiled lightly and did not take the threat of the Qi dynasty seriously. This trip to the Guiyao planet would be the last period of time he would spend in the Hongliu galaxy. After leaving the Guiyao planet, he planned to leave the Hongliu galaxy and head to another galaxy to collect the rare treasures that would be taken away by others in the future. Previously, when he was at the primal core stage, he had followed the memories of his past life and collected many treasures in advance, which had helped him in his later training. However, these items could only be collected with his previous level of training. There were many other items that he would not have been able to collect at his current level of training. Now, the 4 Dharma powers in his body had already entered the primordial soul stage, and his power was no weaker than that of an average primordial soul adept. Hence, he had enough power to collect more treasures. At the same time, he planned to make a trip to the Ziyun planet. After that, he planned to go to Earth once more. In this life, he only had one goal, and that was to become stronger as quickly as possible. This was the only way he could change the fate of everyone he cared about and save his biological parents. In his past life, the death of his biological parents was one of his greatest regret. In this life, since he had the upper hand, he would not allow this regret to repeat itself. "Donghuang, why are you going to the Guiyao planet? Previously, I thought that you were going to the Guiyao planet to hide the fact that the Qi dynasty and the Guangling Academy might have sent people to attack. But now, the people of the Qi dynasty are dead, and I can confirm that there are no people from the Guangling Academy nearby. Why do you still want to go to the Guiyao planet?" He Jin asked curiously. "Valley Head, I am going to the Guiyao planet to confirm some of my guesses," Zhou Donghuang said. "Of course, if you are interested, you can come with me to confirm it. If you are not interested, you can stay outside the Guiyao planet and train while you wait for me." "I will wait for you outside," He Jin said with a shrug. He Jin shrugged as he spoke. He had no interest in the Guiyao planet. In his eyes, the Guiyao planet was just a strange planet that had existed for a long time. There were many beasts on the planet, but none of them had managed to enter the primordial soul stage. It was as if there was some kind of magical power that prevented the beasts from entering the primordial soul stage. Many people were curious about this and wanted to enter the planet to investigate. This included the people from the various sects of the Alliance, as well as the people from the Qi dynasty and the Guangling Academy. However, none of them had found anything. As time passed, there were fewer and fewer people who were interested in the planet. Now that Zhou Donghuang wanted to go to the Guiyao planet, He Jin believed that he wanted to find out the secrets of the Guiyao planet, but the secrets were not so easily discovered. It was said that in the past, the late divine transformation adepts of the Qi dynasty and the Guangling Academy had gone to the Guiyao planet to find out the secrets of the spirit energy on the planet. However, they had found nothing. Because of this, He Jin did not follow Zhou Donghuang to the Guiyao planet. Instead, he waited for Zhou Donghuang outside the planet. "Be careful." As soon as he said this, He Jin regretted it. This was because he remembered that the strongest beasts on the Guiyao planet were only at the ultimate Dharma stage. These beasts were no longer a threat to Zhou Donghuang a year ago, let alone now. After a year, Zhou Donghuang had successfully entered the primordial soul stage. He Jin had already noticed this when he had followed Zhou Donghuang to the Guiyao planet and seen the speed that Zhou Donghuang had displayed. Now that Duan Ling Tian had entered the Guiyao planet, the beasts on the planet were no longer a threat to him. I hope that I will be able to find something this time. After replying to He Jin, Zhou Dongwang flew down and landed on the Guiyao planet. Right now, the formation on the Guiyao planet had not been activated, and one could enter and leave as one pleased. Chapter 306. Seeing Zhou Dongwang's silhouette disappear in front of him, He Jin shook his head and laughed bitterly. This lad is really stubborn. This time, before he left the Lightning Sword sect, Zhou Dongwang had looked for him and told him of his concerns. He felt that the Qi dynasty might have sent people to wait outside the sect, waiting for an opportunity to kill him. At that time, the first thing he said was, "Tell the Qi dynasty that you are acquainted with Lu Pingxing. They will definitely not do anything to you." Although Lu Pingxing was usually in the Guangling Academy, the other transcendental force in the Hongliu galaxy, both the Guangling Academy Dean and King Qi of the Qi dynasty respected him as their teacher and father. If he were to be mentioned, the Qi dynasty would definitely not do anything to Zhou Dongwang. However, Zhou Dongwang rejected him, saying that he did not want to owe him any more favors. To Zhou Dongwang, the fact that Lu Pingxing had shared his understanding of the divine Dharma power with him was already a huge favor. He did not want to owe Lu Pingxing any more favors. After Zhou Dongwang entered the Guiyao planet, he once again felt the spirit energy on the Guiyao planet stirring. The demon is still here. As his eyes lit up, Zhou Dongwang also began to search for traces of the demon throughout the Guiyao planet. He searched every inch of the planet, not leaving a single spot untouched. The entire process was meticulous and careful. Zhou Dongwang was very patient. Even as the days passed and he still did not find anything, he was still very patient. This was because he knew that once he lost his patience, he would easily miss out on important clues and would not be able to discover the breeding grounds of the demon. The breeding grounds of the demon were all very well hidden. Not only were there secret spells to conceal it, but there were also natural barriers to conceal it. This was also why, although the Guiyao planet was strange, no one in the Hongliu galaxy had discovered its secrets after so many years. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Zhou Dongwang found nothing. Another 2 months passed. Still nothing. 3 months passed and still nothing. However, even so, Zhou Dongwang was still very patient. His divine will swept every inch of the Guiyao planet. Now, he had 2 Dharma powers that had entered the primordial soul stage. Because he had used the divine soul shaper to form his divine will when he was at the Dharma stage, the divine will of these 2 primordial soul adepts was much stronger than that of ordinary early primordial soul adepts. 2 divine senses spread out, one on the left and one on the right. Finally found it. Finally, in the 4th month, Zhou Dongwang successfully discovered a clue. Whoosh! Crash! Now, Zhou Dongwang was floating in the air in front of a huge waterfall. The water in the waterfall seemed to fall from the sky, splashing against the rocks below. The highest splash was more than 10 meters. Zhou Dongwang's gaze was fixed on the center of the waterfall. The water curtain cave recorded in Journey to the West on Earth seems to be hidden within the waterfall. Could this water curtain cave be breeding a monkey? As he muttered to himself, Zhou Dongwang shook his head. He felt that he had watched too much Journey to the West and had become obsessed. But now, he was sure, the breeding ground of the great demon was indeed behind the waterfall. If he wasn't attentive, he wouldn't have discovered this place at all. Even if a separating divinity adept was here, if he wasn't serious and careful, he wouldn't be able to discover this place with his divine sense. Only a celestial adept would be able to discover this place easily. As he thought to himself, Zhou Dongwang flew out. His entire body was covered with a layer of inner yuan, avoiding the water as he passed through the waterfall. His robes were not stained by a single drop of water. After passing through the waterfall, he saw a mountain wall that looked flawless. However, when Zhou Dongwang stepped on it, The mountain wall where his foot landed instantly shattered into pieces, and a huge hole appeared just in time. This cave was more than 10 meters tall and close to 10 meters wide. It was extremely dark inside, and from time to time, a soft sound could be heard, giving off a creepy feeling. Zhou Donghuang's expression did not change as he stepped into the cave. Unknowingly, a flame had appeared on Zhou Donghuang's hand. It was the fire that was condensed from the inner yuan in his body, and it lit up the path of the cave. It was narrow and deep. The mountain wall was uneven and looked extremely rough. The path under his feet was the same. "I'm here." When he reached the end of the cave, Zhou Donghuang stopped in his tracks. At this moment, he could feel an extremely strong aura rushing towards him, giving him a suffocating feeling. He knew that the big demon that was being nurtured was inside. "I wonder what kind of big demon it is." Taking a deep breath, Zhou Donghuang was closest to the end of the path. There was another layer of illusory spell that he had dispelled. The moment the illusory spell was dispelled, his eyes lit up, and he realized that he had appeared in a huge and bright cave. In front of him, spirit weapons that seemed to be almost tangible were continuously condensing. This spirit energy came from the various mountain walls of the cave, and it was obvious that it had come directly from the various spirit stone mines on the Guiyao planet. The spirit energy here was not as turbulent as the spirit energy outside. Now, Zhou Donghuang was attracted by the altar in the cave. More accurately, he was attracted by the thing on the altar. The altar was hexagonal in shape, and it was carved with complicated patterns and patterns. The design was simple, and it gave off a sense of vicissitude. On top of the altar, a crystal coffin floated in the air. The surrounding spirit energy had all been absorbed by it, and the spirit energy that it emitted carried with it the unique aura of the Guiyao planet. In the crystal coffin, a young lady dressed in a snow-white robe lay there. She had a slender figure and a perfect face. Her eyes were tightly shut, and when Zhou Donghuang's gaze landed on her face, he found it hard to look away. Could she be that big demon? Zhou Donghuang's heart trembled, and he found it hard to believe that this almost perfect lady in front of him was actually the big demon that had caused the spirit energy on the Guiyao planet to fluctuate. This was too surreal, wasn't it? Zhou Donghuang questioned himself. In both his past and current lives, this was the first time he had seen such a beautiful lady. She was breathtakingly beautiful, and although her figure was voluptuous, it was difficult for anyone to have any thoughts of desecrating her. Taking a deep breath, Zhou Donghuang could not help but extend his divine will outwards, intending to investigate the lady and see if she was a human or a demon. This was a completely subconscious action. If the lady had been a big demon with a ferocious face, Zhou Donghuang would definitely not have used his divine will to investigate it. This was because it was a very dangerous thing to do, and it could possibly awaken the big demon temporarily, causing the big demon to attack and kill him. However, at this moment, Zhou Donghuang subconsciously extended his divine will outwards. It was only when his divine will touched the crystal coffin that he came back to his senses. At the same time, the expression on his face, which had always been calm and collected, suddenly changed. His eyes narrowed and his heart trembled. Not good! In the next instant, his first thought was to retract his divine will. At this moment, before he could retract his divine will, he discovered that within the crystal coffin there was an extremely strong divine will, and in an instant, it came into contact with his divine will. It's over. At this moment, Zhou Donghuang thought that he was finished. However, in the next moment, he discovered that the terrifying divine will that originated from the crystal coffin, when it came into contact with his divine will, did not seem to be angry at all. Instead, it was as if it had turned into a pool of autumn water, and completely merged with his divine will. At this moment, images flashed in Zhou Donghuang's mind. He experienced the life of another living being, including her origins, experiences, and why she was here now, why she was sleeping in the ice coffin, and why she was absorbing the spirit energy of the Guiyao planet to nourish herself. At the same time, Zhou Dongwang felt as if he had been completely seen through. Now, I know everything about her. Could it be that she knows everything about me as well? In the next moment, Zhou Dongwang's gaze landed on the lady in white within the crystal coffin. The lady was as pure as before, and although her face and figure were perfect, it was difficult for anyone to have any thoughts of desecrating her. What do you think? A clear and melodious voice suddenly rang out in Zhou Donghuang's mind, causing his hair to stand on end. He seemed to be the only one in this spacious cave abode, right? At the same time, Zhou Donghuang saw that the lady who had been lying in the ice coffin had suddenly stood up and was floating in the air, looking at him calmly and indifferently. The flawless lady in white looked at Zhou Donghuang. No wonder you could wake me up. It turns out that you are someone who has experienced the changes in time and space. From 1,000 years in the future to 1,000 years in the past, it is truly unbelievable. The lady's voice was just like the one that had rung out in Zhou Donghuang's mind, clear and melodious. However, Zhou Donghuang had no time to appreciate the beauty of the lady in front of him or her voice. His expression was dark, and his eyes revealed a cold, murderous intent. This was his biggest secret. If anyone else knew about it, it would be a huge threat to him. You don't have to be hostile towards me. The lady's tone was still cold, but the corners of her mouth curled up into a smile, giving off a refreshing feeling. When you shared your memories with me, I shared my memories with you as well. And in our tribe, we only have one chance to share our memories with another person. According to the rules of our tribe, the chance to share memories can only be reserved for one's partner. Although it is difficult to accept, the rules of the tribe cannot be violated. From today onwards you are my Emo Ningsang's man. Just as the lady who called herself Emo Ningsang finished speaking, the murderous intent in Zhou Donghuang's eyes froze, and his expression froze. What was this? What did she mean by he was her man? But, recalling a small part of the memory that he had shared with the other party, there seemed to be such a rule in her tribe? Chapter 307. Of course, this woman's tribe had also accidentally given their once-in-a-lifetime chance to share memories with someone else. If the other party satisfied them and was willing to become their path partner, that was fine. If they were not satisfied, or if the other party was unwilling, they would kill the other party without hesitation. Furthermore, in such situations, it was usually because they were not satisfied that they killed the man who accidentally shared memories with them. Should I be thankful that I satisfied her? Zhou Donghuang laughed bitterly to himself. He had heard of the tribe that this woman belonged to in his previous life, but he had never come into contact with them. The people of that tribe were all women, and their powerful genes meant that as long as they had a child with a man from another tribe, as long as it was a girl, the child would inherit their tribe's bloodline. The women of this tribe, in the boundless universe, were the dream partners of all men. They were as pure as ice and as clean as jade, and they would only acknowledge one man in their lifetime. Once they mated with a man, they would bring great benefits to that man, and they could be said to be the perfect vessel for a man to practice. In his previous life, some male adepts had wanted to mate with their tribe because of this. The foolish ones would forcefully abduct the members of their tribe, but often before they could succeed, the other party would choose to self-destruct in order to preserve their innocence, and perish together with them. The clever ones would often openly pursue the members of their tribe, and then mate with them step by step. Of course, the women of this tribe were also very picky. When they chose a path partner, they would usually not choose a mediocre person, not only for their own sake, but also for the sake of their descendants. Just like now. Zhou Donghuang did not think that it was his appearance that had satisfied the other party. What she was satisfied with was definitely the memories that he had shared with her, and what she was interested in was his future achievements. His memories came from 1,000 years in the future, and these 1,000 years of memories were destined to make him extraordinary. Furthermore, in his previous life, He had been at the ultimate immortal stage, and his achievements in this life would only be higher than in his previous life. Divine Soul Shaper. At the same time, the woman named Mo Ningsang's deep gaze was still locked onto Zhou Donghuang. My man, as long as you do not die prematurely, you will definitely become a god in the future. I am also very interested in some of your memories, so give me some as a betrothal gift when you marry me in the future. As for the dowry, I won't take advantage of you. I'll give you some in advance. Just as Mo Ningsang finished speaking, the spirit energy in the surrounding air suddenly became restless, and it became more and more restless. At the same time, the spirit energy in the air around the Guiyao planet also became more and more turbulent. The turbulence of the spirit energy in the Guiyao planet caused the beasts in various parts of the Guiyao planet to run around. Some of the beasts that were initially docile also began to fight at this moment. What happened? Even He Jin, who was in the starry sky outside the Guiyao planet, could sense the unusual movement of the spirit energy in the Guiyao planet. He entered the Guiyao planet immediately and realized that the restless spirit energy in the Guiyao planet was gathering in one direction. Could it be that Donghuang has really discovered the reason for the spirit energy on the Guiyao planet becoming restless? Is he the one who caused this scene? While He Jin was shocked, he was also trying to figure out which direction the spirit energy was heading in. Very quickly, he arrived at the waterfall in front of the water curtain cave. However, He Jin did not know that there was a water curtain cave behind the waterfall. This was because the spirit energy that was gathering from all directions had entered the cave through the rocks surrounding the waterfall. He could only confirm that there was something hidden within the rocks where the waterfall was located. Just as He Jin's divine will swept out and enveloped the rocks surrounding the waterfall, wanting to investigate further, he seemed to sense something. He was first stunned and then his expression changed. This was because a strong wave of inner yuan was sweeping out from within the rocks like a violent storm. In an instant, he was so frightened that he retracted his divine will. Boom! Boom boom boom! He Jin stood in the air, and at this moment, he could hear the deafening roar in his ears. Immediately, he felt a strong, invisible force from all around him that was suppressing him. In the blink of an eye, he was suppressed, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not activate the inner yuan in his body. His inner yuan had been completely suppressed. What a terrifying force! He Jin's eyes narrowed, and his expression was one of shock. Even an ultimate divine transformation adept might not have the ability to suppress me like this, right? Suppressing me from afar. Although my level of practice is only at the early divine transformation stage, my power is stronger than that of an average mid-divine transformation adept. He Jin was frightened, and it was not a light one at that. Suddenly, as if he had thought of something, He Jin's expression changed again. Oh no! Donghuang might be inside. This time, he knew very well why Zhou Donghuang had come. Now, with this strange movement in front of him, he guessed that it had something to do with Zhou Donghuang. Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental? Precisely because of this, he guessed that all this had been triggered by Zhou Donghuang. Now, Zhou Donghuang was most likely inside, and this made him extremely anxious. Although he and Zhou Donghuang had not known each other for long. However, Zhou Donghuang's appearance had brought about an earth-shattering change to him and his daughter, no matter in which aspect. He had always been grateful to Zhou Donghuang. But today, he had to watch as something happened to him. He wanted to go in and see what was going on inside, and see if he could save Zhou Donghuang. However, the power that was suppressing him from all directions made it impossible for him to move. Even now, he was only able to float in the air because of the power that was suppressing him. His power had been completely suppressed, and he could not mobilize it at all. \B time returned to a few breaths ago. He Jin, who came with you, is here. He's just outside. Inside the cave, Emo Ningsang said to Zhou Donghuang, "Luckily, I shared your memories. Otherwise, if I saw such a human approaching, I would have killed him before he could even get close." Valley Head? Hearing Emo Ningsang's words, Zhou Donghuang was stunned at first, but he quickly regained his senses and heaved a sigh of relief. Now, the commotion that Emo Ningsang had caused was so great that the spirit energy of the entire Guiyao planet was in turmoil. This situation would definitely attract the attention of He Jin, who was outside the Guiyao planet. After all, he was still on the Guiyao planet. Based on He Jin's character, there was no way he would let something happen to him. "Alright, next, sit down cross-legged and focus on your Lord of the Four Supremes." Emo Ningsang spoke again. Hearing this, Zhou Donghuang sat down cross-legged and began to practice the Lord of the Four Supremes. Because he had shared his memories with Emo Ningsang, he was not surprised that Emo Ningsang knew his secrets, although it was a strange feeling. However, he also knew that he did not have the ability to interfere in all of this. If he was stronger than Emo Ningsang, he could easily kill Emo Ningsang, and then no one would know his secret. But the problem was, Emo Ningsang was a separating divinity stage adept, who was above the divine transformation stage. In the Hungliu galaxy, a separating divinity stage adept would be invincible. Even if the two transcendental forces of the Hungliu galaxy joined forces, they would not be able to stop such an adept. What more him now? Therefore, even though he felt that it was strange that his memories had been read, there was nothing he could do. As for how to resolve this matter, I'll have to wait and see for now. It's already good enough that I'm still alive. Zhou Donghuang's heart was filled with bitterness. Being weak was still a sin. Now, everything was under Emo Ningsang's control. Even if Emo Ningsang wanted to kill him, he would not be able to resist. As he practiced, Zhou Donghuang could feel waves of liquefied spirit energy entering his body, following the path of the Lord of the Four Supremes. After every major circulation, his level of practice would increase correspondingly. Furthermore, this increase was very fast and exaggerated. After an unknown period of time, Zhou Donghuang realized that his two Dharma powers, which had yet to enter the primordial soul stage, had also entered the primordial soul stage. Then, the four early primordial soul stage primordial souls underwent another transformation. One by one, the primordial souls broke through to the mid-primordial soul stage. Then the late primordial soul stage. Only when all four primordial souls had broken through to the late primordial soul stage did the external spirit energy stop entering Zhou Donghuang's body. More accurately, the spirit energy that had been gathered from all over the Guiyao planet was almost completely depleted. Zhou Donghuang opened his eyes, and what he saw was a beautiful face that was drenched in sweat. It was not difficult to sense that the woman in front of him had become much weaker. It was obvious that she had overexerted herself. Seeing this, Zhou Donghuang's heart could not help but throb. Most of all, he was grateful. "You didn't have to do this." Zhou Donghuang smiled bitterly. "Even if it was me, it would not have taken me long to reach my current level of practice. You've used up all your energy and inner yuan to help me gather the spirit energy of the Guiyao planet to increase my level of practice. It's too much for you. In the next year and a half, I'm afraid you will be in a weakened state. Now, even an ordinary separating divinity adept would be able to kill you." If at the start, Zhou Donghuang was not too sure what Emo Ningsang was trying to do, now, after experiencing it himself and following the memories of Emo Ningsang that he had previously shared with her, he knew what Emo Ningsang had done. Emo Ningsang had used the secret technique of her tribe to gather the spirit energy of the Guiyao planet to help him increase his level of practice. This secret technique could only be used once in a lifetime by the members of her tribe. Furthermore, it consumed a lot of energy. "My man, I've shared your memories, and I know of your desire for power. I'm just doing my best to help you. However, I can only help you this much," Emo Ningsang said slowly. This can be considered part of the dowry that I'm giving you in advance. I look forward to you coming to my tribe in the future and openly marrying me. Also, that girl named Luo Qinghan is my bottom line. In the future, before your power surpasses mine, I will not allow you to fool around with other women. Otherwise, I will cut you up." As she finished speaking, Emo Ningsang's figure disappeared before Zhou Donghuang's eyes. It was obvious that she had left. The word "cut" in Emo Ningsang's last sentence caused Zhou Donghuang to feel a chill, as if a cold wind had blown past him. Chapter 308. The elixirs here should be of some use to you, so I'll leave them for you. Now, it's time for me to leave. As Emo Ningsang finished speaking, her fairy-like figure had already drifted out of Zhou Donghuang's sight. She left behind another sentence before completely disappearing. "You've already read through my memories, so there's no need for me to say more. I'll wait for you to come to my clan and marry me." After Emo Ningsang left, Zhou Donghuang was still in a daze, as if he was in a dream. After a while, he recovered his senses and smiled bitterly. Could it be that, in my previous life, I was so pitiful? God pitied me and arranged so many romantic encounters for me? First, it was Luo Qinghan, and now it's Emo Ningsang. It was all an accident. At the start, Zhou Donghuang had been very bothered by the fact that Emo Ningsang had shared his memories, and had even thought of killing Emo Ningsang to prevent any future trouble, but now, he had temporarily given up on that idea. Based on the current situation, not only did Emo Ningsang not have any ill intentions towards him, but she really did see him as her partner. She had even burned her heart's energy to use a secret technique to forcefully gather the spirit weapons of the Guiyao planet for him, helping him increase his level of practice at an extremely fast rate. In my memories, this secret technique can only be used by the direct descendants of that clan. There is a limit to one's energy, and using this secret technique once in a lifetime does not have much effect on the direct descendants of that clan. If they forcefully use it a second time, it will deplete their life force, and unless they have no other choice, no one in that clan would be willing to use this secret technique a second time. The human heart was mutual. As long as one had a conscience, if you treated me well, I would naturally not harm you. Now, Zhou Donghuang was like this, and he had already dispelled his animosity towards Emo Ningsang. However, with regards to this sudden, or perhaps even inexplicable marriage, he really did not know how to deal with it. Luo Qinghan alone was already difficult enough for him to handle, and now there was Emo Ningsang. Forget it. I'll just take it one step at a time. As for them, it's all up to fate. Thinking of this, Zhou Donghuang was relieved. Late-stage primordial divinity. As Zhou Donghuang thought this, 4 powerful auras swept out from his body. In the blink of an eye, 4 majestic primordial soul powers condensed in the void, and each of the primordial soul powers emitted a terrifying aura. The first primordial soul power was a dragon that coiled in the air. It was dozens of meters long and had a domineering aura. It was the green dragon primordial soul power that Zhou Donghuang had cultivated using the Lord of the Four Supremes. The second primordial soul power was a bird, and its inner yuan was raging all over its body, as if it was on fire, and there was a faint heat emanating from it. It was Zhou Donghuang's vermilion bird primordial soul power. The third primordial spirit was a ferocious giant tiger. Its robust body seemed to contain a terrifying explosive power. It was the white tiger primordial spirit. The last primordial spirit was a giant tortoise-like creature. It was as big as a mountain, but at the end of its tail was another head, like a python or a dragon. It was the black tortoise primordial spirit. Ordinary people have 2 choices when cultivating their primordial soul power. One is to cultivate a human-shaped primordial soul power, and the other is to cultivate a primordial soul power that evolves from Dharma power. As for me, I have no choice but to cultivate the primordial soul power of the Four Supremes, as I practice the Lord of the Four Supremes. Of course, with just a thought, I can transform any one of the primordial soul power of the four supremes into a human-shaped primordial soul power that I project. Almost as soon as Zhou Donghuang thought this, the primordial soul power of the four supremes in the void trembled and transformed into four human-shaped primordial souls. They were four enlarged versions of Zhou Donghuang. Furthermore, the aura that each Zhou Donghuang exuded was different, and it was not the same aura that the four supremes exuded. With my current ability, I have the ability to kill anyone below the divine transformation stage, unless they are a primordial soul adept who has also cultivated an ancient primordial soul technique, even if they are an elite adept of the ultimate primordial soul stage. After carefully sensing his abilities, Zhou Donghuang had a deep understanding of his current ability. And all of this could be said to have been given to him by Mo Ningsang. I really owe her a big favor. Zhou Donghuang sighed softly before regaining his composure. He collected a pile of spirit herbs that had grown in the cave abode due to the abundance of spirit energy in the past. Just as Mo Ningsang had said, these spirit herbs were useful to him. They were all spirit herbs that could be used to refine the core drugs that divine transformation adepts needed. The valley head is still outside. After collecting the spirit herbs, Zhou Donghuang then remembered He Jin, who had come to the Guiyao planet with him. Now that she has left, it seems that she has not imprisoned the valley head. When Zhou Donghuang flew out of the waterfall, he saw He Jin standing in the void a distance away. His expression was extremely solemn, as if he was facing a formidable enemy. It was only when he saw Zhou Donghuang emerge that his furrowed brows relaxed. With a shocked expression, he asked, "Donghuang, you actually came out from inside? Was there a powerful being inside?" He did not even show himself. Just the power that extended from inside was enough to restrain and suppress me. That being did not make things difficult for you. Although the restraining and suppressive power had disappeared, he did not dare to act rashly before knowing what the other party was thinking. He remained where he was. After waiting for a while, Zhou Donghuang appeared. "No." Zhou Donghuang shook his head. "She has already left." "Left?" Zhou Donghuang's words caused He Jin to heave a long sigh of relief. "It's good that she has left, it's good that she has left." If possible, he really did not want to face that power again. It was also because the other party had no intention of killing him. Otherwise, he would have died a few hundred times over. "Valley Head, after following you back to the Tylao planet, I plan to leave immediately and will not return to the sect. Third Senior Sister and Zhuang, please help me inform them." Zhou Donghuang said to He Jin. With his current ability, he could already do many things that he had been unable to do in the past. In the coming period, he would be very busy. "All right," He Jin replied. On the way back, although He Jin was very curious about what had happened to Zhou Donghuang on the Guiyao planet, he did not ask in the end. This was because everyone had their own secrets, and since Zhou Donghuang did not take the initiative to talk about it, it was not convenient for him to ask. However, the level of practice that Zhou Donghuang had displayed once again still left him dumbfounded. Late primordial soul stage? One had to know that when he had first arrived, Zhou Donghuang had only been an early primordial soul adept. In such a short period of time, he had already reached the late primordial soul stage? It seems like the large-scale loss of spirit energy on the Guiyao planet has something to do with Zhou Donghuang's breakthrough in practice. It must have been the help of the separating divinity or higher who helped Zhou Donghuang increase his level of practice. Now, it was not difficult for He Jin to guess this. This was because under normal circumstances, no matter how talented Zhou Donghuang was, it was impossible for him to break through 2 levels of practice in such a short period of time. After returning to the Tylao planet where the Lightning Sword sect was located, Zhou Donghuang bade farewell to He Jin and went to the galaxy teleporter outside the Lightning Sword sect space. Just as Zhou Donghuang was about to leave, a figure appeared near the galaxy teleporter. Zhou Donghuang is not dead. It seems like the seventh prince's guess was correct. The three masters have failed. But Valley Head He Jin alone, did he have the ability to defeat and even kill the three masters? He had seen Zhou Donghuang and He Jin return together, so he knew that He Jin had left with Zhou Donghuang. The failure of the three masters of the Qi dynasty was most likely related to He Jin as well. However, He Jin's strength made him doubt He Jin in his heart. Forget it, I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm just a messenger. I'll just report this matter to the seventh prince. On a faraway planet, the seventh prince of the Qi dynasty, Qi Feng, had been waiting for news. Chu Wei and the other two masters had been pursuing the Lightning Sword sect disciple, Zhou Donghuang, for a long time and had not returned. This made him realize that something was amiss, so he once again sent out an order to the few people hidden in the Lightning Sword sect to keep a close eye on Zhou Donghuang's whereabouts. Seventh Prince. A voice came from outside. The secret guards of the Lightning Sword sect have sent news. There's finally news. Although Qi Feng did not look too good, and he had a bad feeling about this, he still walked out to listen to the report. After listening to the report, even though he was mentally prepared, he could not help but be stunned. That Zhou Donghuang is unharmed? Furthermore, he returned to the Lightning Sword sect with the Autumn Valley Head, He Jin. He had never imagined that this would be the result. If it had been the two divine transformation adepts of the Lightning Sword sect, he could still understand. He Jin? This Autumn Valley Head of the Lightning Sword sect, in his eyes, and even in the eyes of the Qi dynasty, was just a nobody. In the Honglio galaxy, adepts who had not entered the divine transformation stage were not even worth the attention of the Qi dynasty. Did the two divine transformation adepts of the Lightning Sword sect leave the Lightning Sword sect? Qi Feng asked in a low voice. The secret guard said that, ever since Zhou Donghuang left the Lightning Sword sect, until Zhou Donghuang returned, the two divine transformation adepts of the Lightning Sword sect had not left the Lightning Sword sect. The person continued to report. Hearing this, Qi Feng was silent for a while, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. He could not help but squint his eyes. Interesting, looks like the Autumn Valley Head of the Lightning Sword sect, He Jin, has most likely entered the divine transformation stage. Even if he has just entered the divine transformation stage, if it was a sneak attack, it would be enough to kill Chu Wei and the other two. Other than that, there is another possibility. He has external help. However, the possibility of this is very low. Qi Feng guessed as he muttered to himself. Your Highness, the person said. The secret guards also reported that Zhou Donghuang had used the galaxy teleporter to reach his destination. This is useless. Qi Feng regained his calm and indifferent appearance and said indifferently, as long as he's not stupid, he'll first go to a random place to transfer, and then from that place to his destination. Moreover, even if he really goes to that place, trying to find him is no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. However, we cannot just let this matter rest. Let's kill He Jin first and see if Zhou Donghuang can still hide outside peacefully. Chapter 309. Zhou Donghuang did not know that in this life, his appearance in the Honglio galaxy had caused many people's fates to change drastically. It was not just the people of the Lightning Sword sect and the Autumn Valley, but the entire Lightning Sword sect and many people of the Qi dynasty. Because of Zhou Donghuang's appearance, their lives had changed completely. Everyone's fates were changing. Zhou Donghuang returned to 1,000 years ago. Like a small butterfly, he flew into the originally orderly space and time. Although his strength was not considered great, he still affected the operation of this space and time. In fact, 10 years ago, this change had already begun on the Xian planet. Many people's fates had undergone earth-shattering changes because of the change in his life trajectory. In my memory, in my previous life, The divine beast cub that was fought over by many of the great tribes and sects of the galaxy and was accidentally killed appeared in this area. After leaving the Tailao planet of the Hunglio galaxy, Zhou Donghuang did not directly go to his destination, which was one of the planets in the Xianting galaxy, the Yetong planet. He took a stroll in a certain galaxy teleportation array on a planet in another galaxy. Then, he came here. This time, he had only one goal: the divine beast cub. Divine beasts were actually a type of demonic beasts, but they possessed the most noble bloodline among the demonic beasts. It was said that they were born with inherited memories. As long as they were given time, they would sooner or later undergo tribulation and evolve into a divine beast, ascending to the divine world. Divine beasts were invincible in the same stage. It was said that in the ancient times, there were human adepts who could fight against divine beasts of the same stage, but there were none now. In the past, Zhou Donghuang did not know the difference between the adepts of the ancient times and the adepts of the current era. However, after meeting Lu Pingxing, he knew that the ancient humans had practiced ancient technique. For example, the Lord of the Four Supremes that he was practicing now was also an ancient technique. With the Lord of the Four Supremes that I am practicing, I should be able to fight against divine beasts of the same stage. This time, Zhou Donghuang had come to the Yetong planet to obtain the divine beast cub. In his previous life, he had also participated in the battle for the divine beast cub. Of course, rather than participating, it was more like joining in the fun. Because at that time, he was not strong enough to compete with others. He could only watch from the sidelines with a group of loose cultivators. He watched as the major powers fought for the baby divine beast, and in the end, accidentally killed the baby divine beast. That divine beast cub is an inconspicuous dog. It doesn't look much different from the native dogs on Earth, the Chinese countryside dogs. The only difference is that it has a single horn on its head. Back then, although Zhou Donghuang was far away, he could still clearly see the divine beast cub. It was a single-horned puppy. Its body was as black as ink and its eyes were blood red. In the process of the various forces fighting over it, it tried to escape and was killed by mistake. As for the person who killed it, he was also killed by a group of enraged powerhouses, just as expected. Back then, this was the place where the fight over the infant divine beasts took place. Now, Zhou Donghuang was hovering in the air above a vast forest. This was a demon forest, and there were as many demons as there were clouds. In his previous life, he had been here once, and this time, he had followed the memories of his previous life to find this place. I still have to go in and take a look. The Yetong planet was just a planet with similar spirit energy to the Tailao planet where the Lightning Sword sect was located. Within the Xianting galaxy, it was considered a relatively undeveloped planet. The reason why it had attracted so many powerful forces was because someone had spread the news. The birth of a divine beast caused a huge commotion, and auspicious signs appeared that lasted for many days. As the news spread, all the forces in the various galaxies who had received the news rushed over through the galaxy teleporter, intending to fight for the baby divine beast. This time, Zhou Donghuang planned to find the divine beast before it awakened its inherited memories and was officially born. Then, when it was about to awaken its inherited memories, he would bring it to a remote place so that it would not alert others. Otherwise, the scene from his previous life would definitely repeat itself. Before a divine beast awakens its inherited memories, it is no different from a normal demon. However, under normal circumstances, since it awakened its inherited memories here, it should be here now. After all, before awakening its inherited memories, it was only at the connate stage. Once a divine beast entered the primal core stage, it would awaken its inherited memories. At that time, it would be like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate, a pheasant turning into a phoenix, soaring into the sky. And before that, even the divine beast itself might have thought that it was just a normal demon. Now, what Zhou Donghuang wanted to do was to find the divine beast before it awakened its inherited memories. Then, no matter what method he used, whether it was soft or hard, he had to bring it away. A divine beast, and one that had not awakened its inherited memories at that. If he could obtain it, it would be a great help to him. In fact, if the divine beast grew up, it could even rule over a supreme sect or a great tribe in the galaxy. In this demon forest, the strongest demon should at most be a primordial soul demon. Primordial soul demons, with his current ability, should be at most a primordial soul demon. Whoosh! In a flash, Zhou Donghuang entered the demon forest beneath his feet and headed straight for the central region of the demon forest. At the beginning, he was met with resistance, and some ignorant demons pounced on him. However, these demons, without exception, all died at his hands. The closer he got to the central region of the demon forest, the stronger the demons were. Gradually, there were no longer any demons blocking Zhou Donghuang's way. Obviously, the power that Zhou Donghuang had displayed along the way had deterred the demons that were hiding in the dark. As long as the demon was not like the one on the Guiyao planet, as long as it entered the Khanate stage, it would awaken its intelligence. Once it entered the primal core stage, it could even speak. Once it entered the Dharma stage, it could take on a human form, but there were still traces of a demon, and one could tell at a glance that it was a demon. Once a demon entered the primordial soul stage, it could perfectly take on a human form, and at a glance it looked no different from a human. Whoosh! Whoosh! As Zhou Donghuang neared the center of the demon forest, two figures appeared on his originally unobstructed path, blocking his way. These two silhouettes were two humanoid figures. However, although they were in human form, their heads and limbs still had the characteristics of a demon that had not completely transformed, and they looked a little out of place. If they were on Earth, they would be complete monsters. Obviously, these were two demons at the Dharma stage. Human, back off. This is not a place where you should be. One of the Dharma demons had the head of an eagle, and although its hands looked like human arms, they were still connected to its body, and there were traces of eagle wings on them. Obviously, this was an eagle-type demon at the Dharma stage. At this moment, it stared sharply at Zhou Donghuang and said coldly, "It's been a long time since a demon has stopped me." Zhou Donghuang looked at the two beasts in front of him and said calmly. Along the way, other than being attacked by the beasts at the beginning, his journey had been smooth. Although the beasts on the way had noticed him, they had all sensed danger and did not dare to approach him. Of course, this was also because Zhou Donghuang had accidentally released his divine sense along the way. The pressure of his divine sense made the beasts feel as if they were sitting on pins and needles. And now, seeing that he was about to reach the deepest part of the demon forest, which was also the central region of the demon forest, Zhou Donghuang retracted his divine sense, wanting to recover and then explore the deepest part of the demon forest. However, he did not expect that not long after he retracted his divine sense, beasts would appear in front of him to stop him. "Human, don't compare those small demons outside to us." The other Dharma demon had the head of a leopard, and its hands also had the outline of a human's arms. However, it was covered in leopard fur and claws, which revealed that it was a leopard demon. "Is that so?" Zhou Donghuang's eyes narrowed into slits. Without any warning, he raised his hand and clapped. In an instant, his inner yuan coalesced into a giant palm print. With a loud bang, the palm print slammed the leopard-headed Dharma demon into the ground, causing the demon's body to sink into the ground. Wah! Zhou Donghuang did not kill the demon. He only severely injured the Dharma demon. As the demon spat out blood from its mouth, when it looked at Zhou Donghuang again, its green eyes were filled with fear and its voice trembled. You're a primordial soul adept?" Whoosh! Whoosh! A strong gust of wind blew, as if the wind was howling. It was the eagle-headed Dharma demon. After seeing Zhou Donghuang seriously injure the leopard demon with a single slap, and displaying the power of a primordial soul adept, the eagle-headed Dharma demon's arms shook, and its entire body shot up into the air like an arrow, obviously trying to escape. However, just as it rose into the air, before it could even fly out of the demon forest, Zhou Donghuang's giant palm, which had been formed by his inner yuan, grabbed it, causing it to be unable to move. "Sir, spare us, spare us!" The eagle-headed demon's sharp eyes were filled with fear, and it begged for mercy. "We were blind, we didn't know that you were a primordial soul adept. We didn't know, but we hope that you'll spare us on account of our hard work. Sir, spare us, spare us!" As if inspired by the eagle-headed demon, the leopard demon also looked at Zhou Donghuang with a pleading expression, begging for mercy. "Humph!" Zhou Donghuang snorted coldly. "If I wanted to kill you, do you think you'd still be alive?" Zhou Donghuang was not someone who would kill indiscriminately, whether it was humans or beasts that had developed sentience. Along the way, beasts that had developed sentience, unless they tried to kill him, he did not kill them. He only taught them a lesson. The two Dharma demons in front of him did not try to kill him, only blocking his way. Naturally, he did not want to kill them. Chapter 310. My Lord. Seeing that Zhou Donghuang had forgiven them and continued to walk deeper into the demon forest, a hint of hesitation flashed in the eyes of the eagle-headed demon. Finally, it opened its mouth to warn Zhou Donghuang, in the depths of the forest, there are many primordial soul stage demons. It is said that there are even some that are close to the divine transformation stage and are almost there. If possible, I advise you to retreat. Although I don't know why you're going so deep into the forest, no matter what it is, it shouldn't be as important as your life, right? Hearing the eagle-headed beast's warning, Zhou Donghuang looked at it in surprise, but did not say anything else. After giving it a deep look, he walked deeper into the forest. As he walked, he thought to himself, a primordial core demon that is close to the divine transformation stage? As long as it's not a divine transformation stage demon, with my current ability, I can deal with it. After Zhou Donghuang's silhouette disappeared from sight, the leopard beast that had just crawled out of the ground looked at the eagle-headed beast and said coldly, "Why did you warn that human? He almost killed us. Wouldn't it have been better if he had died in the depths of the forest?" As the leopard beast said this, its eyes were filled with hatred. After all, that human had almost killed it. After all, he didn't kill us, did he? The eagle-headed beast was not afraid of the leopard beast and said calmly, "Think about how much time and effort you've put in to get to where you are today. If you die, there will be nothing left. He's already doing us a great favor by not killing us." As soon as it finished speaking, the eagle-headed beast turned and left, leaving only the leopard beast standing where it was, its eyes flashing and its expression uncertain. Of course, Zhou Donghuang was unaware of all this. Now, as Zhou Donghuang ventured deeper into the demon forest, some of the birds and beasts that did not have much practice seemed to realize that he was not to be trifled with, and they all gave way to him, causing the originally quiet environment to become even quieter. As Zhou Donghuang walked deeper into the forest, he stopped when he saw a wooden hut. The wooden hut was not big, and it looked a little crude, but for it to appear in the depths of the forest, it was still somewhat intriguing. Creak! Just as Zhou Donghuang was staring at the wooden hut, the door swung open, and an old man in a brownish-green robe walked out. Although the old man looked to be over 70 years of age, and had a head full of white hair, he was obviously very energetic. When he saw Zhou Donghuang, his originally cloudy eyes suddenly lit up. At the same time, after glancing at Zhou Donghuang, he began to look around Zhou Donghuang's surroundings, not missing anything. Zhou Donghuang could clearly sense that the old man's divine will was sweeping out and raging around his body. It was obvious that the old man was searching for something. There's no need to investigate. Zhou Donghuang looked at the old man calmly and said, "I'm alone." How could he not see that the old man had used his spiritual force to probe, because he thought that there was someone else beside him? Whoosh! Just as Zhou Dongwang finished speaking, the old man's divine will gathered and swept towards Zhou Dongwang. Humph! Faced with the old man's unfriendly divine will, Zhou Dongwang's eyes narrowed, and his face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost. He snorted coldly, and an even stronger divine will swept out from his body to meet the old man's divine will. Boom! The divine wills collided. And in this instant, Zhou Donghuang's divine will destroyed the old man's divine will like a broken twig. The old man, who had suffered from the backlash of the divine will, also turned pale in the blink of an eye. His body trembled slightly and his face turned red. In the end, he could not help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. Although the backlash of the divine will was only on his soul, it still put a lot of pressure on his body. A late primordial soul adept? When he looked at Zhou Dongwang again, the old man's face was full of shock and disbelief, as if he had seen a ghost. This young human was actually already a late primordial soul adept? Bring us to see your demon king. Ignoring the old man's shock, Zhou Dongwang spoke again. Wherever the beasts gathered, there was basically a demon king. For example, when he had first met Big Gold and Little Gold on the Xian planet, they were the kings of the lost forest of the beasts. Some of the more powerful demonic beasts' gathering places were even stricter in terms of rank. For example, the old man in front of him, as a primordial soul demon that could already take human form, must have submitted to the most powerful demon in this forest, which was why he could continue to stay here and live. Otherwise, he would either be expelled or killed. And at this time, the old man's attitude towards Zhou Dongwang had also undergone a 180-degree change, becoming much more humble. Yes, Lord. From the way he saw it, this kind of human, not to mention the possible backer behind him, perhaps even the king of this forest would be afraid of. Just the power of this human was not something he could contend with. Therefore, he had no choice but to be obedient. Led by the old man, they had only walked for a short while when someone blocked their way. It was a tall, well-built middle-aged man. Zhou Dongwang glanced at this middle-aged man and realized that he was even taller than De Zhuang. Now, he was staring at the old man who was leading the way with a pair of eyes as large as gongs. In a loud voice, he shouted, "Old fox, how dare you bring a human into my territory? Do you think that just because the king values you, I won't dare to touch you?" As soon as he finished speaking, the inner yuan on the tall middle-aged man's body fluctuated, and immediately, the figure of a giant ape appeared. It stood there like a mountain, majestic and awe-inspiring. This was not a dharma, but a primordial soul. The primordial spirit of the giant ape, which was almost tangible, stood there like a mountain. It was simply like a Vajra god of war. Clearly, this primordial soul demon that had taken the form of a middle-aged man was a giant ape demon. Mid-primordial soul. The power of this primordial soul demon was obviously stronger than the old man who was leading the way. The old man was only an early primordial soul demon, but this primordial soul demon was a mid-primordial soul demon. Big fool. Faced with this threat, the old man only glanced at the middle-aged man. You better apologize to this lord quickly. If you anger him, he can smash your head with one hand. What did you say? When the middle-aged man heard the old man's words, he was stunned at first, then he flew into a rage. His originally restless gaze became unusually sharp, and waves of restlessness spread from his body. He's just a small human, I can kill him with one slap, just like swatting a fly. The middle-aged man's emotions seemed to have been completely ignited. With a roar, his body gradually merged with the giant ape primordial soul, and then the giant ape primordial soul became even more solid. Roar! The giant ape primordial soul roared loudly, then raised a hand and really slapped down on Zhou Dongwang. This slap landed on Zhou Dongwang's head with the weight of a mountain, and it was extremely aggressive. Seeing this, the old man's eyes flashed with a hint of cunning. Faced with the giant ape primordial soul's slap, Zhou Donghuang's expression did not change. It was only when the slap was about to land on his head that the inner yuan in his body surged out like a tidal wave. A huge, solid figure also appeared, and in the blink of an eye, it passed through the sky above the forest, looking even bigger. This was a giant tiger. The giant ape primordial soul's slap landed on Zhou Donghuang's white tiger primordial soul, but it only caused the area to shake. When the white tiger primordial soul opened its mouth and let out a loud roar, a terrifying inner yuan force roared out and instantly destroyed the giant ape primordial soul. They were not on the same level at all. After the giant ape primordial soul was destroyed, the middle-aged man's figure once again appeared, but with a loud thud, he fell to the ground. When he looked at Zhou Donghuang again, his eyes were filled with fear. Ultimate primordial soul stage demon? Whoosh! At the same time, the middle-aged man's figure gradually faded, and in its place was a giant black ape that was more than 10 meters tall. The giant ape had a tuft of silver-white hair on its head, which was especially eye-catching. At this moment, the giant ape looked at Zhou Donghuang with fear in its eyes. "He is not a demon, he is a human." A strong voice suddenly rang out. It was unknown when, but a figure had appeared soundlessly. Of course, Zhou Donghuang had long noticed this silent figure. However, the giant ape and the old man had not noticed him. "Greetings, King." After seeing who had arrived, the slyness and smugness in the old man's eyes disappeared, and in its place was a look of respect. He immediately knelt on the ground, and even his old face was pressed tightly against the ground. "Greetings, King." "Greetings, King." The other human figures who had just arrived also knelt on the ground, paying their respects to the person in the air. Among these people, there were young men, young women, old women, and a beautiful woman. "King, you say that he is a human? But his primordial soul is clearly a demon," the injured giant ape said in disbelief. "Can't a human cultivate the primordial soul of a demon?" In the air, a middle-aged man dressed in a silver robe, his face elegant and dignified, and he held a folding fan in his hand. He glanced lightly at the giant ape and said calmly, "King, I have embarrassed you." The giant ape struggled to kneel on the ground. Its aura was weak, and its body swayed, but it still gritted its teeth and held on, ignoring the blood dripping from the corner of its mouth. At the same time, the gaze of the silver-robed middle-aged man turned extremely cold, and it landed on the old man who had led the way for Zhou Donghuang. He said calmly, "You want to borrow the hands of others to kill Fang Yuan? Do you think that the rules that I have set are fake? Or did you not take my words to heart?" As he spoke, the silver-robed middle-aged man's voice seemed to be able to send a chill down one's spine. "King, I was wrong." Kneeling on the ground, the old man's body trembled. Even his voice was trembling. Chapter 3:11. Click to report a mistake. "If you're wrong, you'll have to take responsibility." The silver-robed man spoke again, his voice devoid of any emotion. As a result, the old man's eyes narrowed, and his expression changed. In the next instant, bang, 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 the old man continued to kowtow on the ground. Blood flowed everywhere, but he did not seem to realize it. Not only did it not stop, but it seemed to be increasing in frequency. Humph! As the silver-robed man snorted, the old man, who had been kowtowing on the ground, suddenly stiffened and fell to the ground, dead. The moment he fell to the ground, the old man disappeared. In his place was a large fox that was greenish-gray in color. It was called a large fox because it was many times larger than ordinary foxes. There was a tuft of white hair on the top of the fox's head, which was a sign of its age. Obviously, this fox was not young anymore. As the fox demon died, other than the giant ape demon, the rest of the demons narrowed their eyes. When they looked at the middle-aged man again, the respect in their eyes deepened. "Human, leave." The middle-aged man looked at Zhou Donghuang coldly, his tone calm and emotionless. Zhou Donghuang did not move in the face of the expulsion order. He looked at the middle-aged man calmly and said, "You're the demon king of this forest?" "Yes." The middle-aged man's tone was impatient. "Human, although your abilities are not bad, if you want to act presumptuously here, you've come to the wrong place. Since it's not easy for you to cultivate, I won't hold it against you this time. I'm here to look for you." Zhou Donghuang's expression did not change. "I won't leave until I'm done here." "Human, are you trying to provoke me?" The gray-robed middle-aged man was enraged. His robes fluttered, and a golden glow appeared in his originally normal human eyes. A pair of golden pupils appeared at this moment. This time, Zhou Donghuang did not say anything more. The white tiger primordial soul power appeared again, glaring at the middle-aged man. Just as the middle-aged man's face darkened, the group of primordial soul stage demons around him, who could already completely transform into human form, also spread out and surrounded Zhou Donghuang. However, the gazes that fell on Zhou Donghuang were filled with even more fear. Although they had just arrived. However, the giant tiger primordial soul power that Zhou Donghuang had displayed now gave them a sense of oppression that came from the depths of their souls, making them extremely uncomfortable. As for the Monster King, the expression of the gray-robed middle-aged man instantly became very ugly. The great battle was on the verge of breaking out. "Why are you looking for me?" However, they did not fight in the end. The gray-robed man looked at the weakened giant ape and then at Zhou Donghuang's calm demeanor. In the end, he did not make a move, and a look of fear flashed across his eyes. Seeing this, the group of primordial soul demons surrounding Zhou Donghuang heaved a sigh of relief. If they had a choice, none of them would want to become enemies with the human youth in front of them. Their instincts as demonic beasts made them feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. They even feared this human youth. The feeling that this human youth gave them was not only that his primordial soul power was extraordinary, but also that there seemed to be some other power hidden within his body. This made them feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. In fact, the gray-robed middle-aged man, who was the human form that the monster king of this demon forest had transformed into, had also discovered this point. "I need a favor from you." Zhou Donghuang went straight to the point. "A favor from me?" The gray-robed middle-aged man frowned. "You are not weak. If you can't solve something, I can't help you, right?" If not for the fact that the human youth in front of him was not weak, he would not have had the confidence to kill him. Just now, he had already arrived. This was because he had smelled the scent of a human. Then, he had personally witnessed this human attack and injure his subordinate, the giant ape primordial soul demon. On the surface, this powerful primordial soul power was only at the late primordial soul stage, but the power that it displayed was no weaker than the primordial soul of an ultimate primordial soul cultivator. Furthermore, it gave him a very strong sense of oppression that made his soul tremble. Because of this, he was very afraid of this human youth. Because even if he attacked, he did not have the confidence to kill him. "I didn't ask you to help me kill him." Zhou Donghuang shook his head. "I came to you because I want you to mobilize the demons under you to help me find a small demon." "Find a small demon?" Hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, the gray-robed middle-aged man secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He continued to ask, "What kind of small demon is it?" "A dog." As Zhou Donghuang spoke, he described the image of the divine beast cub that he remembered from his previous life. As long as he used these characteristics and the Monster King's influence in this demon forest, it would not be difficult to find the little fellow. After describing the characteristics of the divine beast cub, Zhou Donghuang said, "If you help me, I will not mistreat you. I will help you to attain the divine transformation stage." The gray-robed middle-aged man, who was the monster king of this demon forest, was somewhat disdainful of Zhou Donghuang's first sentence. However, when he heard Zhou Donghuang's second sentence, his eyes narrowed and his face was filled with shock. "What did you say? You can help me attain the divine transformation stage? Are you speaking the truth?" Under normal circumstances, He would not believe such words from a human youth. However, the human youth before him gave him an unfathomable feeling. The primordial soul that he trained was not just a demon's primordial soul, but it was also able to shake his soul, causing it to tremble. This feeling was similar to the feeling of a demon that was of a much higher level than him, standing in front of him. If I'm not wrong, you have been at the ultimate primordial soul stage for many years, but you have not been able to break through the last barrier. Zhou Dongwang spoke again. All of this is because of the problem with your training method. Your original body and your tribe, under normal circumstances, should only be able to train to the ultimate primordial soul stage at most. However, your aura is very complicated, and it is both hard and soft. You should have trained in some human techniques, and you intend to break through the bottleneck and attain the divine transformation stage, am I right? As he spoke, Zhou Dongwang looked deeply at the Monster King before him and asked. Although he did not use his divine will to probe the other party, the inner yuan on the other party's body was clearly agitated. In his previous life, he had seen such a situation on many demons, and they were all the same. Just like what he was saying now. With regards to this, he had a solution. As for the Monster King's expression, even before Zhou Dongwang had finished speaking, his expression had completely changed. This was because the other party was right. Furthermore, only he knew about these things. My lord, please help me. The silver-robed middle-aged man bowed to Zhou Dongwang, his face full of excitement. His body trembled slightly, and even his voice changed, becoming extremely respectful. One had to know that if he did not attain the divine transformation stage soon, his lifespan would come to an end in a few more decades. With regards to this, he had always been indignant, but there was nothing he could do. But now, this human youth before him had given him a ray of hope. Zhou Dongwang glanced lightly at the silver-robed middle-aged man. I'll say it again, as long as you activate your demons and help me find that little demon, I will immediately help you attain the divine transformation stage. My lord, I will give the order now. Now, the Monster King, who saw Zhou Dongwang as his last hope, nodded hurriedly. Without any hesitation, he looked at the few primordial soul demons around him and said, "The few of you, did you hear what my lord said just now? Quickly pass down the order, search for the whereabouts of that little demon." After the surrounding primordial soul demons received the order and retreated, the Monster King looked at Zhou Dongwang again. My lord, please wait here for a moment. I will go and give the order to the other demons under me. The Monster King ruled the entire demon forest. Now, all the primordial soul demons in the demon forest were subservient to him. Those who were unwilling to submit had long been killed by him. It was not only the human world that respected the strong. It was the same in the demon world, and even in the secular universe, even the divine realm, it was the same. Not long after, the Monster King returned. My lord, my residence is considered clean. For the next few days, it will be your lodging. I promise you, as long as that little demon is in my demonic beast forest, within 3 days at most, I will send it to you. Zhou Dongwang was not surprised by the Monster King's enthusiasm. This was because he could see that this Monster King did not have much time left. Usually, under such circumstances, the Monster King would choose to cultivate various human cultivation methods in order to find a way to break through. However, there was still a difference between humans and demon beasts. Perhaps, human cultivation methods could be used as a reference, but there were not many demon beasts in the entire universe who could successfully use it as a reference. Without exception, those demon beasts were the best among the demon beasts. As long as they could grow up, they would become a powerhouse in the future. The residence of the Demon King was located in the center of the demon beast forest. There were 4 lakes there, and a courtyard that looked like a human residence was located right in the middle of the 4 lakes. There were also many trees planted on the road between the 4 lakes. One could see that this Monster King had good taste. He had completely assimilated with the human race. After the Monster King gave up his residence, he personally went everywhere in the demon forest to look for the little demon Duan Ling Tian was looking for. At once, more than 90% of the demon beasts in the demon forest that had gained intelligence began to move, causing the entire demon forest to be in a state of panic. Many of the little demons began to flee in all directions. 2 days later, the Monster King appeared in front of Zhou Donghuang again. "My lord, I'm glad I didn't fail you." At this moment there was a black dog that was as black as ink lying on the Monster King's crooked arm. It was snoring loudly. On the top of this black dog's head, there was a small horn protruding out. It gave off a feeling that a small lotus had just revealed its sharp horn. "It's this dog." Zhou Donghuang's attention had long been attracted by the single-horned black dog when the Monster King appeared. Although it was smaller than when he saw it in his past life, and the horn on its head was not as protruding, Zhou Donghuang still recognized it at first glance. It was the divine beast cub. Chapter 312. Click to report an error, woo woo. The black puppy saw that the Demon King was about to hand it over to the person in front of it, and its eyes were filled with fear. Although it had not awakened the inherited memories of a divine beast, it was now at the connate stage and had developed intelligence. Naturally, it could sense that the person in front of it was different. In the eyes of demons, humans were different. Although the person holding it looked like a human, he had a familiar demonic aura, and the black puppy did not reject him. "Little fellow." After noticing the black puppy's rejection of the human in front of it, the Demon King spoke softly and comforted it in the demon language. "Although I don't know why this human is looking for you, he is a very capable person. If you follow him, there will only be benefits." "No. I don't want to go with a human." The black puppy panicked. "Humans are all bad people, they are the natural enemies of us demons. Some of my companions have been killed by humans." This time, before the Demon King could speak, Zhou Donghuang spoke. "It's normal for demons to be killed by humans, don't you demons kill each other?" Zhou Donghuang was speaking in demon language. "Sir, you..." The Demon King looked at Zhou Donghuang in shock. He had not expected Zhou Donghuang to understand demon language. Although humans could learn demon language through demons if they wanted to, it required not only hard work, but also talent in language. Very few humans were willing to spend time on it. Because of this, the Demon King thought that humans who understood demon language were very rare. At least, he had never met a human who understood demon language. "If you follow me, not only will I not kill you, I will also provide you with elixirs to help you increase your level of practice." Zhou Donghuang looked at the black puppy as he took out a bottle of elixirs from his space ring. He took out a few elixirs and said, "These elixirs can be consumed by humans and beasts of the connate stage. They are very beneficial to their practice." "I want it. I want it." As soon as Zhou Donghuang finished speaking, the black puppy had already turned into a bolt of black lightning and pounced on the elixirs in Zhou Donghuang's hand. However, Zhou Donghuang reached out with his other hand and caught it. He could only look at the elixirs in Zhou Donghuang's hand. "Since you don't want to go with me, then stay here." Zhou Donghuang casually threw the black puppy on the ground and said lightly. At the same time, he looked at the Demon King. "Even if it doesn't want to go with me, my promise to you will still be fulfilled. In the next few days, I will do my best to help you enter the soul formation stage." "Thank you, my lord." The Monster King had an excited look on his face as he repeatedly expressed his gratitude. Finally, he glanced at the black puppy lying on the ground with an aggrieved look on its face and reminded it, "Little guy, it's your good fortune to be able to leave with milord. Cherish it." For the rest of the day, Zhou Donghuang helped the Demon King recuperate the inner yuan in his body, which had become chaotic due to practicing many human techniques. It took 3 days and 3 nights before his inner yuan returned to normal. At the same time, Zhou Donghuang passed on a soul formation stage demon technique to him. With this technique, based on your current situation, you will definitely reach the soul formation stage within 3 months. Sir, if you have any requests in the future, feel free to look for me. As long as it's within my capabilities, I will definitely not decline. Before Zhou Donghuang left, the Demon King bowed respectfully and promised. Zhou Donghuang nodded and then left. As he left, a black puppy sat on his shoulder. It was the divine beast cub that he had successfully tricked with his core medicine. Of course, the black puppy now did not know that it was a divine beast. Boss, where are we going next? The black puppy squinted its eyes and asked Zhou Donghuang. Over the past few days, Zhou Donghuang's elixirs had completely bribed it, and it had also lost the moral integrity that a demon should have, calling Zhou Donghuang the human boss, as if it was a little brother. We're going to a planet in another galaxy, Zhou Donghuang said. Zhou Donghuang had a plan in mind for what he was going to do next. First, he would follow the memories of his past life and go to a few relics left behind by soul formation adept. After that, he would find a secluded place for the black puppy to break through to the primal core stage. When he first saw the black puppy, it was only at the early Khanate stage. But now, in just a few days, it had already entered the middle Khanate stage. With him and the core medicine that he provided, the black puppy would soon be able to enter the primal core stage and awaken its inherited memories as a divine beast. At that time, there would also be a heavenly phenomenon. In Zhou Donghuang's past life, there was a heavenly phenomenon after the black puppy awakened its inherited memories as a divine beast, and many strong practitioners from various forces wanted to snatch it. In this life, with Zhou Donghuang's intervention, the black puppy's life had also undergone a heavenly change. At least, the time it needed to enter the primal core stage had been greatly advanced. Then, with Zhou Donghuang paving the way for it, when it became a divine beast, it would naturally not alarm others, and it could safely survive the biggest crisis in the growth process of a solitary divine beast. A solitary divine beast referred to an orphan among the divine beasts who had no parents or relatives to protect them. Those divine beast cubs who had parents and relatives to protect them, even if they awakened their inherited memories and caused a heavenly phenomenon, alerting everyone, no one would dare to do anything to them. After all, a demon that could give birth to a divine beast cub, no matter how weak it was still a top existence among the demons. It could even be a divine beast, and an adult one at that. Adult divine beasts were at least at the deity stage, and with their physical bodies and various inherited techniques, a divine beast at the early deity stage could even kill some ultimate deity stage human adepts, and its ability was close to that of a deity's tribulation adept. And precisely because of this, even the great clans and supreme sects of the galaxies did not dare to provoke adult divine beasts. In the next 2 months, the black puppy followed Zhou Donghuang to several planets in several galaxies, and saw with its own eyes that Zhou Donghuang seemed to be able to predict the future as he discovered one relic after another left behind by human adepts. Then, he took away their relic. In this period, they also encountered some tests, such as the matrix methods left behind by those human adepts before they died. But to the current Zhou Donghuang, these were nothing, and he easily passed through them. Boss, how do you know this place? Boss, could this human adept be your ancestor? As Zhou Donghuang followed the memories of his past life to unearth treasure trove after treasure trove, the black puppy by his side was naturally shocked again and again, and in the end it was even more shocked by Zhou Donghuang. Of course, in this process, Zhou Donghuang also obtained many rare herbs and refined them into core drugs for the black puppy to consume. The black puppy's level of practice increased at an extremely exaggerated rate. In a short span of 2 months, it had entered the ultimate Khanate stage. It was only half a step away from the primal core stage. How long do you feel before you can break through? Zhou Donghuang asked the black puppy. Once the black puppy broke through, it would awaken the inherited memories of a divine beast, and at that time, the heavens and earth would also appear, as if announcing the birth of a divine beast. At most half a month. The black puppy grinned and said, "Boss, I'll try my best to catch up to you, and then I'll be able to help you." Zhou Dongwang nodded. "Next, I'll bring you to a planet and arrange a place for you to train. When you break through to the primal core stage, I'll come pick you up." Originally, Zhou Dongwang had wanted to find another secluded place for the black puppy to train. However, after thinking about it, he still felt that the Guiyao planet was the safest. On the Guiyao planet, where Mo Ningsong had previously trained in seclusion, although the Matrix was no longer in operation, he could follow the memories that Mo Ningsong had shared with him in the past, and it would not be difficult for him to restore the Matrix to operation. Furthermore, once the Matrix there was activated, it would be even more effective than the Matrix that he could set up now. It would be more than enough to conceal the heavens and earth that would appear after the black puppy awakened the inherited memories of a divine beast. "Boss, can't I follow you?" The black puppy stared at Zhou Dongwang. In the 2 months that they had spent together, although Zhou Dongwang was more strict with it, it had still developed a sense of dependence on Zhou Dongwang. This was because, ever since it could remember, this was the first time that someone had treated it so well. Before meeting Zhou Dongwang, it had relied on itself for everything. It was only after meeting Zhou Dongwang that it began to develop a sense of dependence. Since it was young, it had no family, and in the short span of 2 months, it had already come to view Zhou Dongwang as family. "As I said, when you break through to the primal core stage, I will come and fetch you," Zhou Dongwang said casually. Zhou Dongwang said lightly, "Of course, the prerequisite is that, at that time, you are still willing to follow me. If you are not willing to follow me, I will not force you." Now, only Zhou Dongwang knew what he meant by these words. Hearing this, the black puppy was at a loss. After all, even in its wildest dreams, it would never have imagined that it was a divine beast that was 1 in a billion. "Let's go." Zhou Dongwang took the black puppy and stepped onto the galaxy teleporter. He set the coordinates: Hunglio Galaxy, Tailao Planet, Lightning Sword Sect, but there was no response. "What's going on?" Zhou Dongwang was stunned. He tried again, but there was still no response. Suddenly, Zhou Dongwang's expression changed. Normally, this would only happen if the galaxy teleporter was destroyed. However, that galaxy teleporter belonged to the Lightning Sword sect of the Hunglio Galaxy. Why would it be destroyed for no reason? Unless someone had acted against the Lightning Sword sect. In that instant, many thoughts flashed through Zhou Dongwang's mind. Could it be that the death of the Qi dynasty's worshippers caused the Qi dynasty to be enraged, causing them to take revenge on the Lightning Sword sect? Or could it be that the Lightning Sword sect's calamity has been brought forward? Regardless of which possibility it was, Zhou Dongwang was not happy to see it happen. This was because his third senior sister, He Mingxi, and her father, as well as De Zhuang, were still in the Lightning Sword sect. Hunglio Galaxy, Tailao Planet, Thunder Knife Sect. Zhou Dongwang's expression was dark as he changed the coordinates. In the next instant, the galaxy teleporter was activated. This meant that the coordinates were valid, and the target teleporter was in good condition. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 313. Click to report error. The Hunglio Galaxy. The Tailao Planet. Outside the base of the Thunder Knife Sect, there was a galaxy teleporter, and it was the one with the coordinates of the Thunder Knife Sect. Near the galaxy teleporter, there was an elderly figure sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. It was unclear whether he was practicing or resting. Behind the old man, a middle-aged man and a young man stood there. One of them was resting with his eyes closed, and the other was staring at the galaxy teleporter in front of him. He only blinked his eyes after a long time, as if he was afraid of missing something. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a gust of wind blew past the galaxy teleportation array, and a figure appeared at the right time. It was a handsome young man dressed in a snow-white robe. On the young man's shoulder was a black puppy. At first glance, the black puppy looked like a normal black puppy, but upon closer inspection, there was a single horn on its forehead, and it looked extremely strange. Zhou Dongwang. The young man who was staring at the galaxy teleporter narrowed his eyes the moment the young man in white appeared. He looked at the old man sitting cross-legged in the void in front of him and shouted anxiously, "Lord Wu Qian, it's Zhou Dongwang." Zhou Dongwang, who had just arrived through the galaxy teleporter, had just sensed a gaze from afar. When he looked over, he heard the anxious shout of the owner of the gaze. He quickly regained his senses and realized that something was wrong, and his expression changed slightly. The next moment, he seemed to have sensed something, and in a flash, his entire body seemed to have transformed into a bolt of white lightning that shot up into the sky. At the same time, the old man who had been sitting cross-legged in the void suddenly opened his eyes, and at the same time, he squeezed the jade pendant in his hand. Boom! Kaboom! Not far away, the galaxy transmission array that was originally in good condition was instantly enveloped by a terrifying force. In an instant, it was blown to smithereens, filling the sky with dust. In the blink of an eye, the huge galaxy transmission array no longer had any traces left. "He's Zhou Dongwang?" The old man stared at the white figure in the distance, and asked in a low voice. "Lord Wulian, that's him." The young man behind the old man quickly responded, and the middle-aged man beside him, who had opened his eyes at some point, also spoke. "Sir Wulian, this is the Autumn Valley disciple of the Lightning Sword sect, Zhou Dongwang." They, at the same time, Zhou Dongwang, who was standing far away in the void, also felt that the two people behind the old man were somewhat familiar. After thinking about it carefully, he seemed to have seen them before in the Lightning Sword sect. Now that he heard the middle-aged man speak, he knew that he was not mistaken. The two people in front of him were indeed from the Lightning Sword sect. "Who are you?" Zhou Dongwang's gaze was like lightning as he stared at the old man. Seeing the two disciples of the Lightning Sword sect and the old man in front of him waiting for him like he was a hare, a sense of foreboding began to spread in his heart. "Qi Dynasty Consecrate Wu Lian." The old man stared at Zhou Dongwang arrogantly, as if he was looking at a dead man. "You made me, Wu Qian, wait here for you for more than a month. Even if you die today, you can be proud of yourself." Almost as soon as Wu Lian finished speaking, a primordial soul power that was as large as a mountain appeared on his body. It was like a giant looking down at Zhou Dongwang from above. Ultimate primordial soul stage? Faced with Wu Lian's primordial soul power and ultimate primordial soul power, Zhou Dongwang's expression did not change. He turned his gaze to the two people behind the old man and asked, "Are you disciples of the Lightning Sword sect? Why are you here? What happened to the Lightning Sword sect?" "Let me answer you." Before the two people behind him could speak, Wu Lian laughed coldly and said, "The Lightning Sword sect was destroyed by the Qi dynasty a month ago. These two disciples of the Lightning Sword sect appeared here because they were left behind by the Qi dynasty to identify you, Zhou Dongwang. Now that they have helped me identify you, Zhou Dongwang, they are no longer of any use to us. It is time for us to go look for the people of the Lightning Sword sect." Almost as soon as Wu Lian finished speaking, the expressions of the two people behind him changed. "Lord Wu Lian, didn't you say that if we identified Zhou Dongwang, you would let us live?" "Lord Wu Lian, you can't go back on your word." While the two of them were desperately searching for a chance to survive, Wu Qian had already made his move. His giant primordial spirit slammed down, and a terrifying force howled out. Before the two of them could even react, the palm landed on their bodies, slapping them to death. Zhou Dongwang stood in the distance and looked at the scene before him coldly. He did not feel the slightest bit of pity for the two traitors who had died. Now, his face was no longer calm. His expression was dark, and his eyes shone with a cold, murderous intent. His premonition had finally come true. Indeed, something had happened to the Lightning Sword sect. The ones who had attacked the Lightning Sword sect were one of the two transcendental forces of the Hunglio galaxy, the Qi dynasty. Zhou Donghuang, thank you for appearing outside the galaxy teleporter of the Thunderknife sect. Your head is worth a divine transformation pill. In the future, if I can use the divine transformation pill to enter the divine transformation stage, I will have to thank you. When Wu Lian looked at Zhou Donghuang again, he grinned and controlled his primordial soul power to step into the air. His giant hand reached out and grabbed at Zhou Donghuang. From his words, it was clear that the Qi dynasty had offered a divine transformation pill as a reward for his head. The divine transformation pill was an elixir that could help an ultimate divine transformation adept have a high chance of entering the divine transformation stage. It was extremely valuable, and even the Qi dynasty did not have more than 5 of them. The fact that the Qi dynasty was willing to offer a divine transformation pill as a reward for Zhou Donghuang's head showed how much they valued Zhou Donghuang. Roar! Almost at the same time that Wu Lian's ultimate primordial soul power attacked Zhou Donghuang, a giant primordial soul power also appeared on Zhou Donghuang's body. It was a white tiger, and it opened its mouth to let out an earth-shattering roar. A terrifying sound wave swept out and formed a sound wave attack that forced Wu Lian's primordial soul power to retreat. How is this possible? When Zhou Donghuang's primordial soul power appeared, Wu Lian was so shocked that his eyes narrowed, and his expression changed. You? How can you be an ultimate primordial soul adept? Nothing is impossible, Zhou Donghuang said coldly. At the same time, the white tiger primordial soul power also moved, pouncing towards Wu Lian's primordial soul power. Just as Wu Lian's primordial soul power tried to defend against the white tiger, Zhou Donghuang's claws slammed down like a huge mountain. In an instant, Wu Lian's primordial soul power was crushed, and Wu Lian was severely injured. Wah! After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Wu Lian's face was as white as a sheet. His eyes and face were filled with fear. How is this possible? How can an ultimate primordial soul adept have such powerful strength? I said. Nothing is impossible, Zhou Donghuang said again. Zhou Donghuang spoke again, and his voice was like the tolling of a death knell. In the next moment, the white tiger primordial soul power struck again under his control. Zhou Donghuang, spare my life. I am willing to be your most loyal dog. Wu Lian, who was severely injured and had no strength to defend himself against Zhou Donghuang's attack again, fell to his knees. His body trembled as he tried to use this method to survive. However, the white tiger primordial soul power's attack did not slow down at all. With a swipe of its claws, Wu Lian was smashed into the ground, turning into a pile of meat paste. Whoosh! The black puppy leapt out from Zhou Donghuang's shoulder and snatched Wu Qian's space ring like a little miser. Before it left, it spat at Wu Qian's corpse and said, "Old man, with your looks, you want to be a dog? That's an insult to us dogs. You must be dreaming." Then, the black puppy leaped back onto Zhou Donghuang's shoulder and handed over the space ring with a fawning look in its paw. "Boss, this old fellow is an ultimate primordial soul adept after all. He should have something useful. As for what you can't use, boss, but I can eat it. Just give it to me." As it spoke, the black puppy swallowed hard. "Keep it first." As Zhou Donghuang spoke, he left in a flash. The black puppy excitedly put the space ring in its hand into the collar around its neck. More accurately, it put it into the space stone that was embedded into one end of the collar. This collar was a spirit weapon that Zhou Donghuang had specially made for the black puppy. The dark space stone that was embedded into it could be used as a space item. Not long after Zhou Donghuang left with the black puppy. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 figures simultaneously appeared where the Thunder Knife Sect's galaxy teleportation array was located. If Zhou Donghuang had been here, He would have been able to recognize at a glance that one of the two people who had appeared was none other than the leader of the Thunder Knife sect, Luo Yuanqiu. However, the current Luo Yuanqiu felt his scalp go numb as he stared at the mangled corpse on the ground. Who did this? Qi dynasty's consecrator Wu Lian actually died such a horrible death. Could it be the Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, He Jin? Of the 3 divine transformation adepts of the Lightning Sword sect, only he survived, and the person who killed Minister Wu Lian so easily before we arrived must be at least at the divine transformation stage. The old man beside Luo Yuanqiu guessed. Impossible. Luo Yuanqiu shook his head. From what I know, although He Jin survived, he will not live for long. He was poisoned by the poison of the Qi dynasty's poison protector, and I'm afraid he is waiting for his death somewhere. The Qi dynasty's poison protector was also a late divine transformation adept of the Qi dynasty. He was skilled in the use of poisons and had mastered a poison technique that was known to kill adepts below the late divine transformation stage. If it was not He Jin, who could it be? The old man's eyes flashed with uncertainty and fear. I don't know. Luo Yuanqiu smiled bitterly. However, the Qi dynasty's minister died here. Although it has nothing to do with us, since we found out, we have to inform the Qi dynasty. Let the Qi dynasty investigate this matter themselves. Minister Wu Lian of the Qi dynasty had waited outside the galaxy teleporter of the Thunder Knife sect for Zhou Donghuang to walk into the trap. He had gone to the Thunder Knife sect to greet the leader of the Thunder Knife sect and ask for his help. Wu Lian had not dared to reject him for fear of offending the Qi dynasty. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 314. Click to report an error. After leaving the Thunder Knife sect, Zhou Donghuang brought the black puppy with him to the Lightning Sword sect. When he returned to the Lightning Sword sect, even though he had mentally prepared himself, Zhou Donghuang was still shocked by what he saw. The once prosperous Lightning Sword sect had been razed to the ground and turned into a wasteland. Furthermore, the spirit energy in the area had become extremely thin, and he could vaguely see that the spirit stone mines of the Lightning Sword sect had been completely emptied out. Evidently, when the people of the Qi dynasty had destroyed the Lightning Sword sect, they had also emptied out the spirit stone mines that the Lightning Sword sect had relied on for survival. In the wasteland there were dried bloodstains everywhere, and there were also mountains of corpses. The Qi dynasty, even though Zhou Donghuang had lived for thousands of years in his past life and had long since become indifferent to life and death, when he saw the state of the Lightning Sword sect, he could not help but feel a surge of anger. This was because the Lightning Sword sect's calamity had most likely been triggered by his appearance. According to what he remembered from his past life, at this time, the Lightning Sword sect had not encountered such a calamity. However, now that it had happened so early, he could not help but link it to himself. How tragic! The Qi dynasty is too cruel, even more so than us demons. On Zhou Donghuang's shoulder, the black puppy watched the scene unfold and could not help but click its tongue. As it clicked its tongue, it shook its head like a human. Whoosh! In a flash, Zhou Donghuang flew over the wasteland of the Lightning Sword sect and saw many familiar faces. There were elders of the Autumn Valley, disciples of the Autumn Valley, and besides the Autumn Valley head, He Jin, the other 3 valley heads of the inner sect. Although the Lightning Sword sect leader, Yu Yuqing, had also fallen, he had propped himself up with one hand. His eyes were wide open and full of determination, and he was a sight to behold. What made Zhou Donghuang heave a sigh of relief was that after he looked closely, he could not see the 3 familiar faces of the fallen Lightning Sword sect disciples. His third senior sister, He Mingxi, the Autumn Valley head, He Jin, and De Zhuang were nowhere to be seen. Evidently, all 3 of them could still be alive. Rest in peace. If this matter really has something to do with me, I will give you justice. Zhou Donghuang murmured to himself, and the inner yuan on his body swept out in all directions. In the blink of an eye, It covered the entire area around the lightning sword sect's base. Dust and dirt flew into the air, and the ruins of the lightning sword sect's base were completely buried. Boom! Rumble! Fortunately, Zhou Donghuang had already trained his White Tiger Primordial Soul power to the ultimate Primordial Soul stage. Furthermore, the power of the White Tiger Primordial Soul power far exceeded that of an ordinary Ultimate Primordial Soul Adept's Primordial Soul power. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to bury the entire Lightning Sword sect. In the blink of an eye, the Lightning Sword sect had been completely buried. Zhou Donghuang seemed to have sensed something, and his eyes narrowed. In the next moment, two figures sped over from afar and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. One on the left and one on the right, they surrounded him and glared at him. "You are a remnant of the Lightning Sword sect?" Regardless of whether he is a remnant of the Lightning Sword sect or not, he deserves to die. The Qi dynasty destroyed the sect. Do we need him to be kind enough to bury it? The two people surrounding Zhou Donghuang now were a middle-aged man and an old man. They glared at Zhou Donghuang coldly, and the old man who spoke behind them had a murderous look in his eyes. "You are from the Qi dynasty?" Zhou Donghuang asked casually. In the next moment, without waiting for the middle-aged man and the old man to speak, Zhou Donghuang's eyes narrowed, and the White Tiger Primordial Soul power appeared once again. It let out a loud roar that shook the heavens. Ultimate Primordial Soul Adept? Just as the middle-aged man and the old man's eyes narrowed, the White Tiger Primordial Soul power had already locked onto them and attacked the old man first. A vast amount of inner yuan followed the swipe of its claws, and it was as if a mountain was crashing down on them. "Do you think that you are the only ultimate primordial soul adept?" The old man laughed coldly, and his human-shaped primordial soul power appeared as well. He casually punched out, intending to block the White Tiger Primordial Soul power's huge claws. In the next moment, the two collided. Bang! Along with a loud bang, the old man's primordial spirit shattered, and the old man himself was injured as well. He opened his mouth and spat out a large mouthful of blood, his face as pale as a piece of paper. How is this possible? Just as the old man raised his head in horror and looked at the White Tiger Primordial Spirit, the remaining power of the White Tiger Primordial Spirit's claw had already landed on his body. Bang! The old man's body exploded, turning into a dazzling bloody mist that filled the sky. Only a space ring was left, which floated down and was quickly taken away by the black puppy. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. The old man's companion, the middle-aged man, finally regained his wits after the old man died. The true yuan on his body surged, and with a flash, he fled into the distance. Right now, he was so terrified that he couldn't bring himself to fight anymore. There was only one thought in his mind. Run. What a joke. The old man, who was also a consecrator of the Qi dynasty, was no weaker than him. However, in the blink of an eye, he had died at the hands of the white-robed young man. If it was him, he would not have survived either. Trying to escape? Zhou Donghuang's lips curled into a mocking smile. With a flash of his body, the White Tiger Primordial Spirit chased after the middle-aged man like a shadow and blocked his path. Seeing this, the middle-aged man, who had been forced to stop, realized that it would be difficult for him to escape under the nose of the person in front of him, and his expression changed again. In the end, his body trembled as he apologized humbly. "My lord, I had no intention of attacking you. It was all that old man's fault. I am willing to give up all my wealth in exchange for my lowly life." As the middle-aged man spoke, he took off his space ring and removed the ownership seal on it. Swoosh! The black puppy flew out and snatched the space ring before returning to Zhou Donghuang's shoulder. From the beginning to the end, the middle-aged man only watched silently, not daring to make a single move. "Are you from the Qi dynasty?" Zhou Donghuang asked calmly as he looked at the middle-aged man. "My lord," the middle-aged man said fearfully, I am just a lowly servant of the Qi dynasty. I am not a direct descendant of the Qi dynasty, nor am I a member of the Qi dynasty. From today onwards, I will leave the Qi dynasty and will no longer be a member of the Qi dynasty. He did not know if the white-robed young man before him had any relationship with the Lightning Sword sect, but in order to save his own life, he decided to play it safe and assume that the other party had a close relationship with the Lightning Sword sect. "Why are you here?" Zhou Dongwang asked again. "It's the seventh prince. It's the seventh prince of the Qi dynasty, Qi Feng. He asked me and that old man to stay here and wait for the remaining members of the Lightning Sword sect to appear," the middle-aged man replied. "He ordered us to kill any remaining members of the Lightning Sword sect and bring their heads back to the Qi dynasty to present to him. According to what I know, he is targeting a disciple of the Lightning Sword sect named Zhou Dongwang." The middle-aged man finished speaking in one breath and looked at Zhou Dongwang fearfully. "Zhou Dongwang?" Zhou Dongwang raised an eyebrow. "Why is he targeting Zhou Dongwang? I heard that it was because Zhou Dongwang was too talented and did not want to join the Qi dynasty. In order to prevent Zhou Dongwang from threatening the Qi dynasty's position in the Hongliu galaxy in the future, he wanted to kill Zhou Dongwang while he was still in the cradle." The middle-aged man continued. "He initially sent 3 servants of the Qi dynasty who were as powerful as me to kill Zhou Dongwang, but all 3 of them died. Therefore, he suspected that it was a divine transformation adept from the Lightning Sword sect who killed the 3 guards. It was said that at that time, he suspected that it was the Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, He Jin, who had done it. He suspected that He Jin had already broken through to the divine transformation stage and become a divine transformation adept. He sent a divine transformation adept to test the waters and indeed found out that He Jin had already broken through to the divine transformation stage and was very powerful, comparable to a mid-divine transformation adept. At that time, the 7th prince suspected that He Jin's changes had something to do with Zhou Dongwang. He also suspected that if He Jin was allowed to continue to grow, it would not be long before he became a threat to the Qi dynasty. Therefore, he requested permission from the Qi dynasty to destroy the Lightning Sword sect. Coincidentally, the son of the Spring Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, Lu Lang, had violated the illegitimate daughter of the Qi dynasty's 2nd prince. Using this as an excuse, the Lightning Sword sect did not wait for the Lightning Sword sect to sentence Lu Lang to death and immediately destroyed the Lightning Sword sect. He then announced to the public that it was the Lightning Sword sect that had protected Lu Lang and thus incurred the wrath of the Qi dynasty. Under such circumstances, even the Lightning Sword sect's alliance would not be able to stand up for them. After destroying the Lightning Sword sect, the 7th prince instructed me and the old man to stay here and wait for the remaining members of the Lightning Sword sect to return. Before you appeared, sir, we had already killed more than 10 members of the Lightning Sword sect and kept their heads." As the middle-aged man spoke to this point, the black puppy on Zhou Donghuang's shoulder barked strangely and threw out the 2 space rings containing the heads. At the same time, it furrowed its brows in disgust. Zhou Donghuang casually sent out a wave of inner yuan and buried the heads deep into the ground. He was very patient throughout the entire process, and his expression was solemn. Of course, the 7th prince instructed us to stay here mainly to deal with Zhou Donghuang. However, Zhou Donghuang should not be among those people, because it is said that Zhou Donghuang always wears a snow-white robe, and, at this point, the middle-aged man could not continue. He stared at the white robe that Zhou Donghuang was wearing and his extraordinarily handsome face. No matter how he looked at it, the person in front of him looked very much like the Zhou Donghuang that the 7th prince had spoken of. Impossible, impossible. Zhou Donghuang, even if he had already broken through to the primordial soul stage, he would only be an ordinary primordial soul adept. He could not possibly be an ultimate primordial soul adept, let alone such a terrifying ultimate primordial soul adept. The middle-aged man consoled himself in his heart. Boss, looks like he has recognized you. The black puppy chuckled. Of course, the middle-aged man could not understand the black puppy's words, because it was speaking in the language of beasts. Only after entering the primal core stage could the black puppy speak in the human language. Bookmarked for easier reading. Chapter 3:15. This time, when the Qi dynasty attacked the Lightning Sword sect, did anyone from the Lightning Sword sect escape? Zhou Donghuang looked at the middle-aged man and asked calmly. The middle-aged man paused for a moment before nodding. 3 of them escaped. One of them was the Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, He Jin, and the other 2 seemed to be disciples of the Autumn Valley. He Jin fought his way out and helped them escape. However, even if He Jin managed to escape this time, I'm afraid he won't be able to live for long. As he spoke, the middle-aged man shook his head. Why? Zhou Donghuang's eyes flashed coldly, and his originally nonchalant tone became serious for the first time. He was eager to know what the middle-aged man was trying to say. The middle-aged man also heard the change in Zhou Donghuang's tone, and his expression became cautious. The Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, He Jin, was poisoned by the Qi dynasty's poison guard. The poison guard of the Qi dynasty is a late divine transformation adept who specializes in using poison. His poison attack is said to be fatal to anyone below the late divine transformation stage. Now, Zhou Donghuang had basically confirmed that his third senior sister, He Mingxi, was still alive, and De Zhuang had been rescued by Valley Head He Jin. Indeed, the Lightning Sword sect's calamity was brought forward because of my appearance. In his previous life, Zhou Donghuang had heard from his third senior sister, He Mingxi, that the destruction of the Lightning Sword sect had something to do with the Spring Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect, Lu Lang. As for the specifics, he did not ask. In this life, the destruction of the Lightning Sword sect had something to do with Lu Lang. However, because of him, it had been brought forward. Whoosh! Zhou Donghuang suddenly turned around and faced the ruins of the Lightning Sword sect that he had buried. His gaze was resolute and his tone was resolute. I am responsible for your deaths. Today, I, Zhou Donghuang, promise you that in the near future, I will seek justice for all of you. When the middle-aged man heard Zhou Donghuang's solemn words, his expression changed drastically. Zhou Donghuang? You are Zhou Donghuang? How is this possible? How is this possible? Now, Zhou Donghuang's declaration of his identity had unsurprisingly frightened the middle-aged man. This was because it was hard for him to imagine how someone who had only been a late Dharma adept a year ago could enter the ultimate primordial soul stage in the short span of a year, and even possess powers that far surpassed that of an ultimate primordial soul adept like him. His opponent's primordial soul was so strong that it was comparable to the primordial soul of an early divine transformation adept. He had never met such a terrifying ultimate primordial soul adept before. Even those who stood at the pinnacle of the thousands of races in the universe, the most outstanding young geniuses from the great races and supreme sects of the star domain, might not have been this strong when they were at the ultimate primordial soul stage, right? The middle-aged man looked at Zhou Donghuang's back, his eyes flickering. He's actually Zhou Donghuang. Run! Run! With that thought in mind, the middle-aged man turned around and fled without any hesitation. He was like an arrow that had left the bow. However, could he escape? Roar! It was the same earth-shattering roar of a beast. Then, a huge white figure moved in the air like a mountain and caught up to the middle-aged man in the blink of an eye. This was Zhou Donghuang's White Tiger Primordial Soul Power. Bang! The White Tiger Primordial Soul Power struck out with its claws and ended the middle-aged man's life. At this point, 3 ultimate primordial soul adepts of the Qi dynasty had already died at the hands of Zhou Donghuang. The Qi dynasty. Zhou Donghuang stared at the sky, his gaze landing on the boundless starry sky as he stared fixedly in one direction. "This is just the interest. It won't be long before I personally pay the lightning sword sect back for this debt." Zhou Donghuang's expression returned to normal, but deep in his eyes, there was a terrifying glint. At the same time, Zhou Donghuang did not linger at the original base of the lightning sword sect. He left the Tailao planet and headed in the direction of the Guiyao planet. He had to first send the black puppy to the Guiyao planet before he could look for his third senior sister, He Mingxi, and the rest. If there were no accidents, his third senior sister, He Mingxi, must have brought De Zhuang and Valleyhead He Jin to his hometown, the Xian planet of the Kaiyuan galaxy. This was because his third senior sister, He Mingxi, knew that this was his hometown and had personally been there before. Of course, this was only Zhou Donghuang's guess, and he felt that this was the most likely possibility. This was because this was the only place where he would be able to find them more quickly. "Boss, I'll wait for you to come back." On the Guiyao planet, in the cave behind the waterfall, Zhou Donghuang followed Mo Ningsang's memories and repaired the spell. He then left the black puppy behind and left. Before he left, the black puppy was naturally reluctant to leave. Although it had not known Zhou Donghuang for long, Zhou Donghuang's concern and help had made it see Zhou Donghuang as family. After all, before it had met Zhou Donghuang, it was just an ordinary little demon in the demon beast forest. It was Zhou Donghuang's appearance that changed its fate. "The next time I return, it will have awakened its inherited memories as a divine beast. Regardless of whether it is willing to stay by my side, I, Zhou Donghuang, and this divine beast cub can be considered to have formed a good relationship." The black puppy was a divine beast cub, and after awakening its inherited memories, Zhou Donghuang did not know if it would have other thoughts. However, no matter what the outcome was, he would respect the black puppy's decision. From a personal point of view, Zhou Donghuang naturally hoped that he could keep this divine beast cub by his side, because it would be of great help to him. Divine beasts were the cream of the crop among the countless demon beasts in the boundless universe, and they were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Such existences were not only monstrous in terms of talent and power of understanding, but their growth rate was also astonishing. Furthermore, as long as divine beasts did not die prematurely and continued to grow, they would definitely be able to ascend to the divine realm. Not long ago, Zhou Donghuang had gone to find the black puppy because he wanted it to be of help to him in this lifetime. However, after actually meeting the black puppy and spending some time with it, he suddenly felt that his previous thoughts were too selfish. Some things could not be forced, or it would only backfire. How could a divine beast be easily controlled by the will of a human? In the blink of an eye, it has been almost 5 years since I left the Xian planet. After leaving the Guiyao planet, Zhou Donghuang did not return to the Tailao planet. The Tailao planet was a planet that was relatively close to the Guiyao planet. Other than the Tailao planet, there were a few other planets that were also very close to the Guiyao planet, so he randomly went to one of them. Then, through the galaxy teleporter on that planet, he was transported to another galaxy next to the Kaiyuan galaxy where the Xian planet was located. This was also the galaxy that he had arrived at after leaving the Xian planet more than 4 years ago, and it was still the same galaxy teleporter on that planet. The Akiyama galaxy. The Hayu planet. The northern wilderness. Although it had only been slightly more than 4 years since he had returned to this place, Zhou Donghuang still felt as if it had been a lifetime. That year, when he had just arrived, he had been ambushed by 3 golden essence adepts who had wanted to rob him of his belongings. However, they had underestimated him, and in the end, they had all been killed by him. The Xian planet. From the northern wilderness galaxy teleporter, Zhou Donghuang once again traversed the void using his physical body. His destination was the Xian planet, where the Kaiyuan galaxy was located. Because he had walked this path in the past, it was a walk in the park now. Back then, Zhou Dongwang had walked this path for a long time. However, the current him was much more powerful than before. In just a few days, he had completed the journey and appeared in front of a very familiar planet. I'm here. Looking at the planet in front of him, Zhou Donghuang's originally calm gaze became gentle in an instant. Whether it was Earth or the Xian planet, he saw them both as his home. Once again, there was an irrepressible excitement in the depths of his heart. Whoosh! In a flash, Zhou Donghuang's entire body seemed to have transformed into a shooting star, streaking across the starry sky and landing on the Xian planet. 4 years was enough for many things to happen. In the past 4 years, the greatest change in the Xian planet was undoubtedly the transcendental force of the Xian planet, the Donghuang sect, established by Zhou Donghuang, the publicly acknowledged #1 genius of the Xian planet. At the beginning, the Donghuang sect was just a sect with very few people. Although it had a high status, there were very few disciples. However, in these 4 years, under the influence of the elusive Donghuang sect leader, Zhou Donghuang, countless people from all over the Xian planet came to join the Donghuang sect. And because of this, after 4 years, the Donghuang sect had become a top sect in the Xian planet. Even without the elusive Donghuang sect leader, in terms of power, the current Donghuang sect was already on par with the other top sects, and even showed signs of overshadowing them. The Donghuang Peak was where the Donghuang sect was based. At this moment, in a spacious courtyard halfway up the Donghuang Peak, 3 young and beautiful women sat at a table, but the atmosphere was somewhat tense. Sister Mingxi, is there really no other way? Yang Zixi looked at He Mingxi, who was sitting across the table, and asked worriedly, Uncle He Jin is a divine transformation adept who is above the primordial soul adept, why would he be afraid of a mere poison? In Yang Zixi eyes, primal core adepts were already very powerful, and primordial soul adepts were even above primal core adept. As for the even more powerful divine transformation adepts, they were existences that were unreachable in her eyes. Such existences, why would they be afraid of a mere poison? Zixi, that is no ordinary poison, He Mingxi said with a bitter expression. He Mingxi's eyes were filled with unwillingness and her face was bitter as she said, that was the Qi dynasty's poison protector, a late divine transformation adept. The poison palm that he practices is extremely toxic, and it is said that any adept below the late divine transformation stage will definitely die. My father is only able to hold on until now because of the mysterious technique that little brother passed on to him. Otherwise, he would not have been able to hold on much longer. He Mingxi said. Just as He Mingxi finished speaking, an urgent cry came from outside, causing He Mingxi's expression to change. Senior sister, the Valley Lord cannot hold on any longer. He wants you to see him one last time. Chapter 316. The person who had come to look for He Mingxi was the disciple of the Lightning Sword sect's Autumn Valley, De Zhuang, who had followed He Mingxi and her father to the Xian planet. The current De Zhuang was obviously more muscular. His originally calm and honest face had a more resolute and mature look, giving people the feeling that he had grown into an adult overnight. At that moment, De Zhuang's face and eyes were filled with anxiety and worry. Whoosh! He Mingxi ran out of the courtyard. She didn't even say goodbye to De Zhuang. She immediately rushed to another courtyard not far away, halfway up the mountain. Her father and De Zhuang were staying there during this period of time. As soon as He Mingxi left, De Zhuang hurriedly followed. Yang Zixi and Ren Jiape also followed them. Father! In a room in the courtyard, He Mingxi was nestled in front of a bed. On the bed lay a middle-aged man who was on the verge of death. The middle-aged man's face was withered and his body was emaciated. His entire body was shrouded in a black aura. He looked like a skeleton wrapped in skin. It was hard to imagine that this was the heroic Autumn Valley head of the Lightning Sword sect. Don't be sad. With much difficulty, He Jin forced a smile that was uglier than a crying face. Promise me, don't be rash in the face of trouble. Before you have enough power, and before you have Donghuang's permission, don't seek revenge in the future. Listen to Donghuang more. Although he is younger than you, he is more mature than you and sees things more clearly than you. Wait for him to return. Before he returns, do not leave the Xian planet. I'm afraid I won't be able to wait until he returns. After He Jin said those words with great difficulty, the life force on his body began to wither, like a candle in the wind that could be extinguished at any moment. Just as He Mingxi's expression changed, De Zhuang, Yang Zishi, and Ren Jiapei's expressions also changed. A voice came from outside. Valley Master, aren't I back now? His voice was filled with magnetism, gentleness, and concern. As soon as it entered the ears of the people in the room, it caused their eyes to light up in unison. Even He Jin's life force seemed to have increased a little at this moment. Who? As if a gust of wind blew past, a white figure flashed in and arrived before the bed in the blink of an eye. Surprisingly, it was a handsome young man in clothes that were whiter than snow. The young man's bearing was extraordinary, and the moment he appeared, everything in the surroundings seemed to have dimmed in comparison. Miss Mingxi, young master said that he can help Lord He Jin cure the poison. A young man in plain clothes walked in. He had a simple face and a gentle gaze. It was Fu, who had been by Zhou Donghuang's side for a long time. Now it was Fu who had brought Zhou Donghuang over. The moment Zhou Donghuang arrived, he went to look for his mother, Lin Lan, and sister, Yun Lu, but found that they were not there. Then, he went to Fu's residence, found Fu, and immediately rushed here under Fu's lead. As soon as Fu's words fell, He Mingxi's eyes that were already somewhat bright lit up once more. Little junior brother, you really have a way to cure my father's poison? Third senior sister, this little bit of poison is not a problem for me. Now, Zhou Donghuang had already helped He Jin up from the bed and had him sit cross-legged. Then, he took out an elixir from his space ring and placed it in He Jin's mouth. Valley Head, this is a poison neutralization elixir that I obtained outside. It is said to be able to cure hundreds of poisons, and even if it cannot be cured, it can still suppress the poison. To be on the safe side, after you consume this poison neutralization elixir, I will help you cure the poison. I know a secret method to expel poisons. Even if this poison neutralization elixir cannot cure the poison in your body, as long as it can suppress it, I am confident of getting rid of it. Hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, He Jin swallowed the poison neutralization elixir without hesitation. Then, the black poisonous gas surrounding He Jin was visibly suppressed, but it did not disappear. Fu, go to the courtyard and pick a flower or a leaf. Following that, Zhou Donghuang instructed Fu. Yes, young master. Fu responded and left the room. Soon, he returned with a leaf and a flower. Under Zhou Donghuang's instructions, he placed them beside He Jin, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Thump, thump. At the same time, Zhou Donghuang sat cross-legged behind He Jin and placed both his palms on He Jin's back. In the next moment, Zhou Donghuang began to channel the inner yuan in his body into He Jin's body. There were no obstructions along the way, because the inner yuan in He Jin's body had already been used up to resist the poison in his body. This made things easier for Zhou Donghuang. With a thought, Zhou Donghuang began to use the detoxification mystic technique from his previous life, grafting. His inner yuan swept across He Jin's entire body, activating all the toxins in his body and causing all the toxins in his body to boil. Then, with another thought from Zhou Donghuang, all the poison in He Jin's body left He Jin's body under the guidance of his inner yuan. Then, all the poison entered the flower and the grass beside He Jin. He Mingxi and the rest stared unblinkingly at Zhou Donghuang and He Jin from beginning to end. After about a quarter of an hour, They saw a flash before their eyes as a black light shot out from He-jin's head, then made a turn and entered the flower beside He-jin. At the same time, when they looked at the flower, they realized that the flower had withered in the blink of an eye. At the same time, its entire body had turned black, like charcoal. This, He-mingshi's eyes narrowed. She, who had been squatting in front of the bed, was so shocked that she stood up. When she stood up, a gentle breeze inadvertently swept across the flower that seemed to have turned into a conversation. The flower was instantly torn apart, and then continued to be carried by the wind, turning into a pile of ashes. "It's done." Zhou Donghuang's voice rang out, but this time he sounded a little weak and weak. "Valley Head, the poison in his body has been completely neutralized. After this, he will be able to recover to his peak condition after some rest. Third senior sister, don't worry." Now, Zhou Donghuang's entire white robe was soaked in sweat, and his forehead was also full of sweat. Although it had only been a quarter of an hour, he seemed to have used up all his strength. Even the 4 primordial souls in his dantian had now become extremely dim and illusory. It was obvious that he had overexerted himself. It was clear that the flower grafting technique had taken a lot out of him. "Fu, help me down to freshen up and change my clothes." After saying this to Fu, Zhou Donghuang closed his eyes. His rapid heartbeat could be heard clearly in the quiet room. "Yes, young master." Fu heard this and stepped forward to support Zhou Donghuang. Then, under the concerned gaze of the 3 women and 1 man in the room, he helped Zhou Donghuang down. "Father, how are you?" As He-mingshi asked He-jin, and although Yang Zishi and Ren Jiape wanted to follow Fu, they stayed behind to accompany He-mingshi. As He-mingshi helped her father lie down, she asked anxiously, "I'm much better, the poison in my body is gone. Go check on Donghuang. He has expended a lot of energy just now." In fact, He-jin had long discovered that the poison in his body had been neutralized, but he had been immersed in Zhou Donghuang's inner yuan, which was as vast as the ocean. Within Zhou Donghuang's inner yuan, there was not only 1 inner yuan of the ultimate primordial soul stage, but there were also 3 other inner yuan of the late primordial soul stage. However, he felt that the inner yuan of the ultimate primordial soul stage was almost on par with his own, and was no weaker than the inner yuan of an ordinary early divine transformation adept. One had to know that although he was only an early divine transformation adept, he was stronger than an ordinary mid-divine transformation adept. This was because he had switched to the deity-level technique, the Thousand-Star Sword technique, which Zhou Donghuang had given him. This made his inner yuan much stronger than most adepts of the same stage. In addition, Zhou Donghuang's other 3 inner yuan of the late primordial soul stage were no weaker than the inner yuan of an ordinary ultimate primordial soul stage adept. The aura of the inner yuan was at that level. However, the explosive power contained within it was far beyond the level that the aura appeared to be at. In fact, it was more than 1 level. It was precisely because of this that he was shocked. 4 inner yuan. It's as if there are 4 primordial soul powers in Zhou Donghuang's body. My God, 4 primordial soul powers, how did he train? Furthermore, in such a short period of time, he managed to break through to such a level. What kind of miraculous encounter did he have the last time he left? Now, although He-jin was trying his best to calm himself down and let his daughter visit Zhou Donghuang, the shock in his heart could not be quelled. Naturally, he knew that the difficulty of training 4 primordial soul powers was far greater than training 1 primordial soul power. Even if he was given the chance to train in such a technique, he would not have the courage to do so. Looking at the level of practice of the 4 primordial soul powers in Zhou Donghuang's body, they were basically on par with each other. Only one of the primordial soul powers had a higher level of practice than the other 3 primordial soul powers. Obviously, it needed to grow at the same time. The other 3 primordial soul powers would obviously be a hindrance. Under such circumstances, it would be even more difficult to break through to the divine transformation stage. Perhaps he would need to train the other 3 primordial soul powers to the ultimate primordial soul stage before he could break through to the divine transformation stage. You guys go ahead. I'm fine. As he sent his daughter to visit Zhou Donghuang, He Jin glanced at De Zhuang, Yang Zishi, and Ren Zhepe. He could tell that the 3 of them had already left with Zhou Donghuang, but they were too embarrassed to leave him at this time, so they did not leave. As soon as He Jin finished speaking, Yang Zishi and Ren Zhepe rushed out of the door. As for He Mingxi and De Zhuang, they followed behind them. However, when the 4 of them went to find him, Zhou Donghuang had already closed the door. Fu was standing guard outside. Seeing the 4 of them in a hurry, he smiled and said, "Young master asked me to tell you that he's fine. He's just exhausted, he'll be fine after a bath and some rest." Hearing Fu's words, the 4 of them heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, they did not leave and stood guard outside the courtyard. "Sister Mingxi, Zishi and I are enough here. Go back and take care of Uncle He Jin," Ren Zhepe told He Mingxi. While He Mingxi was hesitating, Yang Zishi also tried to persuade her. In the end, with De Zhuang's help, she and De Zhuang finally returned to He Jin's place. End of chapter. Chapter 317. Inside the room, Zhou Donghuang sat cross-legged in the bathtub and closed his eyes to practice, recovering the inner yuan in his body. Now, he had already consumed many core drugs that could aid in the recovery of his inner yuan. After recovering for a while, he had enough inner yuan to set up a spell formation, so he began to set up an energy-gathering spell formation in the room, allowing the 4 primordial soul powers to further recover their inner yuan. Of course, the spirit in the planet of Ziyun could not be compared to the other planets he had been to before, so the effect of the energy-gathering spell formation was not as good. He had to rely more on the spirit accumulated in the spirit stones used to set up the spell formation to practice. After a full 3 days and 3 nights, and after expending a large number of spirit stones, the White Tiger primordial soul power in Zhou Donghuang's body finally recovered to its peak state. As for the other 3 primordial soul power, they had only recovered a small portion of their inner yuan. Under such circumstances, Zhou Donghuang stopped practicing and continued to recover, because the rest could be recovered slowly and there was no hurry. His current strength depended more on the White Tiger primordial soul power. Furthermore, with his ultimate primordial soul stage White Tiger primordial soul, he would be invincible in the entire galaxy, let alone the planet of Ziyun. Now, what Zhou Donghuang wanted to do most was to see his mother, Lin Lan, and his sister, Yun Lu. Creak! After opening the door, Zhou Donghuang immediately saw a few figures standing up in front of the stone table in the courtyard. 2 of them were young ladies whom he had already seen when he had returned, and 2 people whom he had wanted to see the first time he had returned but had not been able to. "Brother!" The petite figure pounced into Zhou Donghuang's arms like a bolt of lightning. Zhou Donghuang smiled as he opened his arms and hugged the little girl tightly. "Woo woo! Brother, you are finally back. Xiao Lu missed you so much." The little girl who had leapt into Zhou Donghuang's arms was Yun Lu. Although it had been almost 5 years, time had not left any traces on Yun Lu's body. She still looked so young and had not grown up at all. Seeing this, Zhou Donghuang was not surprised, but his heart ached. That year, Yun Lu had forcefully activated the maximum strength of her muscles before she had even started to develop, so her body could not grow any further unless she entered the primordial soul stage and took over the body of another. Or he could step into the celestial being realm and reconstruct his physical body. Other than that, unless he could find a treasure that could help him reconstruct his physical body. However, such a treasure was something that he had never seen even in his thousands of years of roaming the universe. It was extremely rare. "Big brother missed you too." Zhou Donghuang carried Yun Lu and walked over to the beautiful woman of the other 3. Seeing that the beautiful woman's face had not changed much, he suppressed his excitement and said, "Mother, I'm back. It's good that you're back." The beautiful woman was Zhou Donghuang's adoptive mother, Lin Lan. Seeing her son again after 5 years, she could not help but tear up. A mother worries her son as he travels 1,000 miles. Although her son had always made her feel at ease. However, the place her son was going was beyond the perilous cosmos. He could encounter danger at any time, so she had been worried about her son's safety almost every day for the past few years. Now, seeing that Zhou Donghuang had returned safely, she could finally put her heart at ease. Brother Zhou. Brother Zhou. At this time, Yang Zishi and Rinjiape, who had long lost their childishness and had grown more graceful, looked at Zhou Donghuang emotionally. Although they had seen each other 3 days ago, they had not had the chance to catch up. Now that they finally had a chance to catch up, they were filled with mixed feelings as they thought about the past. "You've both grown up." Zhou Donghuang looked at the two girls and smiled slightly. At the same time, he sighed to himself. He had thought that after so many years, seeing the two girls again, they would definitely not be as infatuated with him as they had been when they were young. They would each have their own lives. Perhaps they would have found someone that they liked and was suitable for them. However, at this moment, seeing the strange look in the two girls' eyes, he realized he was wrong. In fact, whether it was Yang Zishi or Rinjiape, although they had met Zhou Donghuang when they were young and interacted with him, Zhou Donghuang's excellence had long been ingrained in their hearts. Since then, it wasn't like there weren't any suitors around them. However, they either felt that they were childish or that they were not outstanding enough. No matter what, they could not compare to the big brother Zhou that they had been longing for. They had first met in the Chu royal city and then met Donghuang for the rest of their lives. This could be said to be the true portrayal of Yang Zishi and Rinjiape. Big brother, is the world beyond the stars fun? Not only did Yun Lu still look like a child, but her personality was also the same. In the big family of the Donghuang sect, everyone inside and out called her a little princess. Seeing the curiosity in Yun Lu's big eyes, Zhou Donghuang carried her to the stone table and said with a smile, "Of course it's fun." Hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, Yun Lu's face was full of longing, and her eyes were full of anticipation. Then, "Big brother, when can I leave the Xian planet and go to the world beyond the stars to play?" Yun Lu blinked her big eyes and looked at Zhou Donghuang pitifully. "If I want to go play, I can do so anytime." Zhou Donghuang smiled. "When Big brother is done with the things on hand, I will take you out to play, okay?" "Okay." Yun Lu's eyes lit up. "Big brother, you can't lie to me. When has Big brother ever lied to me?" Zhou Donghuang stroked Yun Lu's little head and shook his head with a doting smile. Then, Zhou Donghuang chatted with Lin Lan, Yang Zishi, and Rinjiape for a while before he put down Yun Lu and said to her, "Xiao Lu, I will go to the Valley Head's place and then come back. You and mother can wait for me here." As he said this, Zhou Donghuang looked at Yang Zishi and Rinjiape again and nodded at them. He then left the courtyard and went to the courtyard where the Lightning Sword Sect's Autumn Valley Head, He Jin, lived. Valley Head. Zhou Donghuang came to the courtyard and greeted him. Before he saw He Jin, the door to the room next to He Jin's opened, and a burly man walked out, looking at Zhou Donghuang with shining eyes. "Little brother, you're here." Zhou Donghuang nodded at De Zhuang and used his divine will to scan him. It was not difficult to see that De Zhuang's current level of practice had already reached the ultimate Dharma stage, and he was not far from the primordial soul stage. "De Zhuang, looks like you haven't been slacking off recently." Zhou Donghuang smiled. "I'm almost at the primordial soul stage." Hearing this, De Zhuang scratched his head in embarrassment. "It's all because senior sister has worked hard, so I did not dare to slack off. Furthermore, senior sister said that in the future, we will fight our way back to take revenge. If we don't work hard, we won't be able to do so." Third senior sister, thinking of He Mingxi, Zhou Dongwang sighed to himself. Perhaps to Dezhuang, the lightning sword sect was gone. The only people he cared about were He Mingxi and He Jin, his two benefactors. He did not have much to do with the others. But to He Mingxi, the lightning sword sect was her home. It was her home since she was young. And now, her home was gone. Dongwang is here. With the sound of a door opening, He Jin also walked out of his room. Compared to the He Jin from a few days ago, the He Jin now was much more energetic, even though he was still skinny and had not fully recovered. Come and sit. He Jin sat down at the stone table in the courtyard and called out to Zhou Dongwang. At the same time, he looked at Dezhuang and said, Dezhuang, please help us brew a pot of tea. Yes, Valley Head. Dezhuang replied respectfully and then went to look for a tea set to brew tea. Zhou Dongwang also landed on the ground and sat opposite He Jin. Valley Head, I'm sorry to have implicated you, the Autumn Valley, and the sect. Zhou Dongwang sat down and said apologetically. It has nothing to do with you. He Jin shook his head. It's just that the catastrophe in your dream has come early. Furthermore, as you said before, it's all because of the son of the Spring Valley Head, Lu Lang. You've only brought this catastrophe forward. Furthermore, I perished in your dream. When the calamity came early, I managed to escape with Mengxi and Dezhuang because I was well prepared and had reached the soul formation stage with the deity tribulation level cultivation method you taught me, the 1,000-star sword technique, allowed me to escape successfully with Mengxi and Dezhuang. It can be said that if not for you in the end, the three of us would have met the same fate as in your dream. Only Mengxi would have survived. He Jin sighed as he spoke. However, although I have reached the divine transformation stage and my power is comparable to that of an ordinary mid-divine transformation adept, in the face of the Qi dynasty's overwhelming power, I could only save Mengxi and Dezhuang. As for the others, there is nothing I can do. At this point, He Jin's originally calm face began to twitch slightly, and he could not help but clench his fists tightly. His fingertips pierced through his palms and blood flowed freely. Father, you have tried your best. He Mingxi had arrived and was standing beside Dezhuang, who had finished brewing tea. Evidently, Dezhuang had told her that Zhou Dongwang had arrived. Little brother, seeing that you are fine, I am relieved. I was really worried that you would return to the sect and be killed by the people of the Qi dynasty. After we left, we went back. The Qi dynasty had sent people to guard the sect, probably waiting for you to return. After all, you are too big a threat to them. However, because father was poisoned, I was unable to deal with them. As He Mingxi spoke, she sat down. At this point, Dezhuang had already set up the teacups for the three of them and poured tea from the teapot. Third sister, I have returned to the lightning sword sect. Zhou Dongwang smiled at He Mingxi and shook his head. I only returned to the Xian planet because I heard that the lightning sword sect had been destroyed and that you had escaped. This was because I guessed that you would return here to wait for me. As it turns out, I guessed correctly. Hearing Zhou Dongwang's words, He Mingxi's expression changed. What? You returned to the sect? Chapter 3:18. Yes, I did. Zhou Dongwang acted as if he did not see the change in He Mingxi's expression as he nodded his head and spoke casually. Then did you meet the people from the Qi dynasty who were guarding the place? Although she knew that her little junior brother was safe and sound, when she heard that he had returned to the lightning sword sect after it had been destroyed, He Mingxi could not help but break out in a cold sweat. This was because, according to what she knew, after the lightning sword sect had been destroyed, the Qi dynasty had specially sent people to guard the lightning sword sect. It was as if they were waiting for her junior brother to fall into their trap. After all, her junior brother's martial arts talent was something that even the Qi dynasty was wary of. I did. Zhou Dongwang nodded his head and acted as if he did not see He Mingxi's expression change once again as he continued. I originally wanted to use the galaxy teleporter to return to the sect, but I realized that the destination teleporter did not respond, so I used the galaxy teleporter near the Thunderknife sect instead. At that time, when I appeared, I discovered that there were a few people guarding the galaxy teleporter near the Thunderknife sect. They were a few disciples of the Lightning Sword sect who had been captured, as well as an ultimate primordial soul adept of the Qi dynasty. When He Mingxi heard this, her eyes narrowed. She had not expected that the Qi dynasty would also have people stationed at the galaxy teleporter near the Thunderknife sect. As for why they had kept a few disciples of the Lightning Sword sect as captives, it was not difficult for her to guess. It must have been so that they could recognize the Qi dynasty. At that time, a disciple of the Lightning Sword sect recognized me and informed the Qi dynasty adept. Then, the Qi dynasty adept used the excuse that the disciples of the Lightning Sword sect had lost their value and killed them. After that, he attacked me. At this point, Zhou Donghuang paused for a while before continuing, however. He did not expect that. He was no match for me at all. After killing him, I returned to the Lightning Sword sect and found that it had already been reduced to rubble. I walked around the rubble and could not find the bodies of third senior sister, Valley Head, or De Zhuang, so I wondered if the three of you had survived. Then, another two ultimate primordial soul realm worshippers from the Qi dynasty appeared and tried to kill me. After I killed one of them, the other cooperated and told me everything that had happened. Only then did I confirm that third senior sister and the two of you had survived. At the same time, I know that the Valley Head has been poisoned by the Qi dynasty's poison protector and is in grave danger. After killing the official of the Qi dynasty, I thought for a while and felt that the two of you most likely went to my hometown, the Xian planet. That's why I rushed back immediately. In one breath, Zhou Donghuang recounted his experiences after returning to the Tailao planet. From start to finish, his expression was calm, as if he was talking about something unimportant. Hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, He Mingxi's face was blank, as if she was listening to a heavenly book. Her junior brother had killed a few ultimate primordial soul realm experts of the Qi dynasty? How could he be so strong? How long has it been? And now, not only was He Mingxi stunned, but even De Zhuang, who was pouring tea, was so shocked that he dropped the teapot in his hands. Junior brother is already able to kill ultimate primordial soul adepts? The two ultimate primordial soul adepts of the Qi dynasty had joined forces, but they were still killed by him. While He Mingxi and De Zhuang were in shock, He Jin's face was calm, as if he was not surprised at all. When He Mingxi regained her composure, she also realized this and asked, "Father, why do you not seem surprised at all? Junior brother has only been gone for a short period of time, but he is already able to kill ultimate primordial soul adept." He Jin laughed. When Donghuang helped me dispel the poison in my body a few days ago, I realized that the inner yuan in his body was very strong. It was even stronger than the average early divine transformation adept. With the strength of his inner yuan, killing the ultimate primordial soul adepts of the Qi dynasty was a piece of cake. Hearing He Jin's words, He Mingxi looked at Zhou Donghuang again and could not help but exclaim, "Junior brother, you have already reached the divine transformation stage?" The divine transformation stage was a stage that was above the primordial soul stage. Even in the Lightning Sword sect, there were only a handful of people who had reached this stage, and they were all very old. And how old was this junior brother of hers? Not yet. Zhou Donghuang shook his head. I am only at the ultimate primordial soul stage now, but because of the powerful technique that I practice, my battle power is far above that of an average ultimate primordial soul adept, and I am on par with an early divine transformation adept. For example, before the Valley Head broke through to the divine transformation stage, he used the deity-level technique, the Thousand-Star Sword technique. Throughout the entire Hongliu galaxy, no one below the divine transformation stage was a match for him. As Zhou Donghuang spoke, he looked at He Jin. Indeed. He Jin also looked at He Mingxi and nodded. The strength of one's technique can directly affect one's battle power at the same stage. Although I am only at the early divine transformation stage now, with the deity-level technique, the thousand-star sword technique, that Dongwang taught me, I am able to battle an average mid-divine transformation adept. That's too much of a blow. He Mingxi smiled bitterly. In just a few short months, junior brother has already reached the ultimate primordial soul stage, and I have only just reached the threshold of the primordial soul stage. When He Jin and Zhou Dongwang had first left the Guiyao planet, he had discovered that Zhou Dongwang had reached the late primordial soul stage, but because this news was too shocking, he had not told anyone, not even his daughter, He Mingxi. Hence, He Mingxi's current shock was naturally much greater than He Jin's. Junior brother, aren't you too abnormal? De Zhuang, who was standing at the side, could only mutter this after a long time. He Jin looked at He Mingxi and De Zhuang and smiled. Now you know the difference between you and your junior brother, right? What are you waiting for? I'm really worried that by the time you reach the divine transformation stage, your junior brother might already have the power to destroy the entire Qi dynasty. The Qi dynasty. When He Jin mentioned the Qi dynasty once again, his eyes flashed with a cold light. The Qi dynasty had not only almost massacred the people of the Autumn Valley, but they had also destroyed the Lightning Sword sect, which had groomed him, and had almost killed him. If Dongwang had not returned in time, he would have been killed by the Qi dynasty's poison protector. Hearing He Jin's words, He Mingxi's face instantly turned serious. Even De Zhuang's expression turned serious. Finally, it was Zhou Dongwang who smiled and broke the tense atmosphere. This time, when I left the sect, I obtained many good things. Among these things, 2 of them will be of great use to the Valley Head, and the rest will be of use to you and De Zhuang. After finding the divine beast cub, the black puppy, Zhou Dongwang had brought the black puppy out for more than 2 months. During this time, he had visited many places that he remembered from his previous life, and had obtained many things. Besides a large number of spirit stones, he had also obtained some rare spirit fruits and core drugs. Of course, he had refined all the spirit fruits and herbs that could be refined into core drugs. Dongwang, you should keep them for yourself. He Jin stopped him and said, using those things on you is much better than using them on me. As for Mingxi and De Zhuang, unless it's something you can't use, you can keep them for yourself. Among us, you have the highest potential. It is better for you to grow quickly than for us to slow you down. Humans were selfish by nature. However, Zhou Dongwang had saved He Jin's life, and in addition, he had taught He Jin the thousand-star sword technique. He Jin could not be selfish in front of Zhou Dongwang. Moreover, what he said was from the bottom of his heart. If they were to slow down Zhou Dongwang's growth, it would be better for them to slow down their growth and let Zhou Dongwang grow first. Little junior brother, I agree with my father. He Mingxi's thoughts were the same as He Jin's. Yes, little junior brother, instead of giving me good things, you should keep them for yourself. In the future, we still need you to avenge our brothers and sisters in the Autumn Valley, De Zhuang said with a smile. Don't worry, my progress will not be affected by the things I have given you. Don't worry, the progress of my cultivation won't be affected by the things I've given you. The things I've given you are either things I don't need or things I don't need. Don't worry, my progress will not be affected by the things I have given you. It wasn't until he confirmed it again and again that He Jin and the others were willing to accept the spirit fruits and medicinal pills he took out, as well as the large amount of spirit stones that shocked even He Jin. After the 3 of them accepted the gifts, they immediately bade Duan Ling Tian farewell and rushed back to practice. Obviously, Zhou Dongwang's rapid progress had not only stimulated He Mingxi, but also De Zhuang and He Jin. I haven't seen them since I came back. After He Jin and the other 2 left, a few figures appeared in Duan Ling Tian's mind. They were Freezing Wind, Lu Qinghu, Zhou Han, Zhou Feng, and the others. There were also 2 huge figures. They were the golden-crowned eagles, Big Gold and Little Gold. Duan Ling Tian walked out of He Jin and Dezhuang's courtyard and walked across the Dongwang Peak with his hands behind his back. He did not disturb anyone. After a round of inspection, he couldn't help but reveal a gratified smile. At least they did not slack off. The Dongwang Peak was no longer as deserted as before. It was now bustling with activity. After a few years of development, coupled with Zhou Donghuang's reputation, the Dongwang sect had become the holy land of the Ziyun planet. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Zhou Donghuang's ear, attracting his attention. An ordinary voice would not have stopped him in his tracks. But now, this voice mentioned a name. Hong Yunfei. The name Hong Yunfei was not unfamiliar to him. In fact, it could be said that he was very familiar with it. Years ago, Chen Dandan had betrayed his mother, Lin Lan, because she had gotten close to the preeminent Hong family of the Yunfeng prefecture capital, Hong Yunfei. The Dongwang Emperor,